The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show podcast is sponsored by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning.
Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is currently hiring experienced and entry-level HVAC technicians. Apply today at standardheating.com.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. 93X.
So, do you come to Milwaukee often?
Well, actually it's pronounced Milwaukee. I'm a regular visitor here. But Milwaukee has certainly had its share of visitors. The French missionaries and explorers were coming here as early as the late 1600s.
Does this guy know how to party or what?
Quagmire, excuse my Wisconsin mouth, but why the heck are you not drinking, for cripe's sake?
Going into Wisconsin.
Well, I got the kicked out of me in Wisconsin once.
I don't know if you heard, but you're deep in Wisconsin.
Hey, Turtle Lake, we're coming for you.
I like turtles.
Here we go now. Welcome to the 93X Half-Ass Morning Show. We appreciate you very much for listening. Monday morning. And it's kind of an F-off week for us. Kind of. Because by the end of the week, we'll be hosting our the topless casino party.
Topless?
At St. Croix Casino, Turtle Lake, right?
That's correct.
We get there Thursday night. This is the week this is all happening. We get there Thursday night. We start drinking and, jaw-jacking back and forth, this and that. The real F-off for the week will be our Friday morning broadcast live from the casino sportsbook. We will be making very little effort at that live, very little effort at that live Friday broadcast. So, Cubby, it's kind of like having Friday off.
In a way, it is. And, we've mentioned this before. It's part of the experience, right? At least that's what the government wants you to think. Where we have this thing Thursday night, Friday morning we have the broadcast. Everybody's invited. There's some stuff going on Friday night with the band 10 Years. But we encourage you not to show up the broadcast because it's no fun whatsoever.
Get as drunk as possible Thursday night so you're way too hungover to stroll into the live broadcast.
Why get up that early when you had such a good night before?
That live broadcast does not count. And we will be making no real effort, and I don't care. So it feels almost like a short week.
And I wish I could join you guys. It sounds like a lot of fun.
What happened?
I forgot I got something.
You have something going on?
It happens.
I can't get out of it. I'd be there if I could.
Bummer.
Thanks to Turtle Lake Casino, by the way.
That's nice that they're having us back. You never know.
Right.
We appreciate you having us. In case we don't express our thanks right away when we get there, we do appreciate it.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Last year was a lot of fun. I'm excited.
So that doesn't lead you to believe that this one might be a total disaster?
Yeah, I kind of thought we should have ended it.
Yeah, just end on a high note?
Yeah, that's when you go out, right?
Right.
You'd go out then.
We've been bitten in the ass a few times by trying to think something's going to be fun again. So my hopes are not high. Not at all. I was warned last night. I was given a warning concerning our trip over to Wisconsin. I've got a wife now, as some of you might have heard. And some of you even believe it.
A lot of people don't.
So anyway, she warned me last night, Josh, to not have sex with any women while I'm out of town.
Oh, that's kind of demanding.
Yeah, were
there any warning signs before you got married that she might not be okay with you sleeping with other women?
See, that's what's so interesting about this. I'm not sure if this is she serious about this? Is this some kind of a test? When you tell me you've been married a long time.
Well, my wife just doesn't think I can land anybody. So she's like, go ahead, put in your best effort. And then she laughs and laughs and laughs. She doesn't even smoke, but she takes a long drag off a cigarette and then starts coughing amid laughter and being unused to smoking.
And laughs, she says.
It's like that movie Hall Pass where, the guys, Jason Sudeikis and Owen Wilson, think like, oh yeah, we got a hall pass, then we'll land so much tail, and they just strike out all over the place.
That is one of the worst movies of all time.
It was pretty bad, yeah.
Oh my God. Anyway, so in this conversation I had last night, let me see if I can remember this. She said, if I do have relations with a woman while we are out of town, I will be committing adultery, is the word that she used.
Well, you are an adult. Isn't that what you should do?
Oh, I never thought of it that way. I got myself a wingman here in a few days, everybody. Got myself a wingman.
Well, you see all those things like hashtag can't even, hashtag adultery.
Yeah.
That's what you strive for.
That's friggin', that sounds really familiar
I'm
to me.
Googling it. Oh, no, it says adulting.
Adulting?
Okay, my bad.
This is great. I already got a text here that says, boy, Nick's new wife sure sounds like a control freak.
She sure does.
No. We're going to be all right over there in Wisconsin. I'm sure we'll have a hell of a time. I was just kidding about how, I mean, we have been bitten in the ass by thinking something will be fun again, and then it goes sideways on us. I think we'll be just fine.
Well, this is in no way a reflection of, St. Croix Casino, Turtle Lake. But before we went the first time, we thought this is going to be a disaster. Nobody's going to want to go. It's not going to be any fun. It has nothing to do with Turtle Lake. We just thought it was us. And then it turned out to be a blast.
There you go.
And what's the latest on the hot tub jacuzzi party? The Nick and Josh hot tub jacuzzi party?
Well, number one, you're still not invited.
Okay.
It's also a potluck. You left that out. Yeah, I mean...
It's a meet and greet.
That sold out immediately.
It is. It's backed up. It will be backed up all the way down the hall.
Big wait list.
Kind of confusing how you included a hot tub and a jacuzzi.
Yeah, I didn't really know how to phrase it exactly.
It's the Nick and Josh hot tub meet and greet potluck.
But you want listeners to bring the meat.
No, we'll be bringing the meat, baby.
Is that a sexual joke?
No, it was like a potluck joke. Meet and greet, bring meat.
Oh, I see. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah.
If I read that joke, I would have laughed a lot harder. I would have seen the spelling difference.
So there you go. You'll be heading out on Thursday. But I've been warned to behave myself.
That's hilarious she brought that up.
Yeah. And honest to God, use the word adultery. If you go out there and have relations with another woman, you will be committing adultery. It's exactly how it was put to me last night.
Somebody texted in and said, I just drove by Turtle Lake. They're advertising the Border Bash on the marquee, but no mention of the jacuzzi party. Yeah, like I said, it's sold out.
Right.
I mean, there's people from all the bordering states are going to be there.
Sure. And Canada.
Florida transplant Jesus Sexton said, please remind Nick that marriage isn't a word, it's a sentence.
Oh, that's cute. I know a couple guys who have those kind of snazzy marriage quips. One of my best buddies, you know him very well, Josh, by the name of Curtis.
I love Curtis.
Sometimes here and there, now and again, someone will ask Curtis to go here, go there. Can you go to the cabin this weekend? Can you make it tonight to the strip joint? Can you go to the ball game? And he'll always say, I'm married, not buried. I like those. I got to get used to those. I got to learn more of those cute little marriage jokes. Married, not buried. I don't know. We'll see how I fare. What if I meet a woman with sweater boobs?
Like she recently had the procedure?
Over there in Wisconsin.
I've never met, I've heard this story before. Well, Dana, it's a little different because it's your ex-wife who immediately got boobs when you guys got divorced. But I've heard stories where people are like, yeah, so-and-so got implants and she was showing them off to everybody. Like, hey, take a look at what I got. I've never experienced that. Have you guys?
Yeah, like a couple times.
Mm-hmm. I suppose with girls, it's, they just tend to show that kind of stuff to each other. But
true.
That's happened to you, Wop.
Yes.
Meaning she removed her shirt to show you.
Yeah, it was sweet because my girlfriend...
Because you had never seen boobs before.
my girlfriend was like, wow, you two have amazing boobs. And then they went into we got the procedure and got fake boobs. And then she was like, do you mind if you show my boyfriend and all of his friends? And they were like, no, not at all. So then they walked outside when we were smoking a cigarette and they were like, hey guys, check out these. And then they showed us. They were perfect.
Boy, you're pumped about
That's
this.
Adorable.
Even my girlfriend, she's like, those are the most beautiful boobs I've ever seen. It was sweet.
Yeah, I've never experienced that. Not quite the same, but a buddy of mine was just telling me they went up to a cabin a couple weeks ago, and his wife, this was a shock to him, she doesn't do this kind of thing, but his wife, along with a couple other girls, I guess were, drinking all day. They're out on the boat drinking all day, and then they're like, hey, boys, and they flashed all the husbands, but he missed it because he was adjusting his shorts as he got out of the water. They were falling down.
Oh, no.
So he missed an opportunity. He's seen his wife, but he didn't get to see the other two, and he was hoping for a repeat performance. Never happened.
God damn.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, my only experience is my ex-wife, like you mentioned, Josh, and she was very excited to tell me and I think tell everybody else about them.
Do you think she showed him to other folks?
I'm sure she did.
Nice.
Man, oh man.
If I ever get implants, I'll show you guys.
Thank you.
What
I
a pal.
appreciate it.
What a pal.
No way. More anxiety than hair, Jesus said his crazy aunt showed all of them her boobs after her boob job, unannounced. Oh. I don't know if I could come back from that. I saw my grandma's when I was a kid, and I'm still traumatized from it, especially because they were fantastic.
I know. You're traumatized, but I'm turned on anytime you tell that story.
I understand.
They were friggin' perfect, he says. Well, I was talking about sweater boobs. They're kind of the opposite of big fat bolt-ons. At least from what I understand. This is a new term to me. This is the latest plastic surgery trend. Sweater boobs. Apparently, the big Hindenburg, big fat bastard implants are no longer in fashion. The new trend, a smaller, more subtle boob job. And that's the nickname that's been hung on this new procedure, sweater boobs.
That's interesting simply because, we've mentioned this before. Every girl I've ever known who has gotten them to go from smaller to bigger always regrets not going bigger. A lot of times, even a plastic surgeon guy I'd talked to once, he's like, yeah, we even tell people there's a very good chance you're going to wish you went bigger.
That is very common.
And I understand, like, if I was doing a procedure like that, and it's very noticeable, I would worry, like, oh, are people going to think, what are they going to think, this or that? Mm-hmm. Or I don't want to be perceived this way. But I think of the folks I know, every single one of them wishes they would have went bigger. Unless, like I said, obviously they were very large and they wanted to have a reduction.
Right. That is very common. You're very accurate with that statement. Recently, I encountered a first. And that was a gal who had the implants put in. I think maybe 6 months went by. She didn't like them. She didn't like the way they looked. She had them pulled right back out.
I have friends that have done that too.
That's a first for me.
Oof, that's a lot of money.
I've never heard that. Oh, man, I can't even imagine.
Is that a lot of money?
Well, just the initial procedure is a lot.
Well, I'd imagine taking them out's not cheap either.
Yeah, and then to go through that, yeah.
Most of the women that I've met hang on to them, like them, or like Josh was describing, they wish they'd gone bigger, or they do go even bigger a second time, sometimes a third time.
How long ago was that for your friend Ashley?
What do you mean?
You said the person that had them removed.
Oh no, I don't know anybody
who
that's
just
had
said
it done.
that? Oh, that was Nick that said that?
That was me.
And Dana has friends too.
I have friends that have gotten taken out.
Wasn't there a lot of, or not a lot, but a handful of women wrestlers in the Attitude Era who got boob jobs, and now that they gotten older, they got them reduced?
You'd be the one that could tell that story.
Yeah, it could be just rumors, but I heard that Vince wanted the women, to have sex appeal. So then he pretty much got them boob jobs, and then now they went through wrestling and they're like, why do I have these?
Well,
so
that would make sense. I mean, back in that era of television wrestling, the women were almost cartoon characters.
Mm-hmm.
That would make sense, Wapple, what you're saying, what you probably heard on Jeff Jarrett's podcast or something. I don't know if any of that's true, but it makes sense.
Oh, yeah, you can buy a lot of used ones on Facebook Marketplace. That's pretty cool.
The sweater boobs. So be on the lookout, I guess. lots of women are saying that the smaller boob jobs are more elegant and not as trashy as the over-the-top and obvious big fakies. Started about a year ago, according to some plastic surgeons out there. They said this trend started, less than a year ago. Enormous cans ruled for over a decade. But they say that's over, at least for now. Smaller boob implants. Oh, they credit a pop star named Olivia Rodrigo.
Olivia Rodrigo.
Oh, yeah. I like her quite a bit.
I guess I've never noticed her chest.
No, me either.
So we'll see here by Thursday night if this trend has spread to Wisconsin yet.
Bring your sweater boobs on out to Turtle Lake.
Maybe we could offer the procedure. I don't know. I don't know how difficult it is. Probably not easy.
I'm guessing it's difficult, yeah.
I've been hearing this since I was probably in high school, that like small boobs are in. And I don't know.
You haven't seen it take over yet, the way it was at least presented to you?
Yeah, exactly. It's
funny you say that, Ashley, because
whatever.
I've heard that. Now that you mention it, I've heard that quite a few times as well. That the large implant thing was going to completely fade away, and it hasn't really happened. Maybe this is the time.
Real Dirt Nasty Jesus said that his wife's fake boobs were over $6,000.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And I'd imagine taking them out has to be around the same price, right? I would think the implant would be the cheapest part. I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, do you get like a 25% off coupon when you get them put on? If you want them removed, 25% off.
I'm not sure all the financials of such a thing.
I'll tell you what, I don't know a ton about this stuff, but I don't know if I'm going to go to the plastic surgeon that takes coupons.
Yeah. No.
You're not going to get a Groupon?
Yeah, I don't know enough about the business, but that makes me a little nervous.
Someone texted in, so I was joking around about, on our trip to Wisconsin here in a few days, I was warned by my brand new wife not to commit adultery while I'm there. If I have relations with another woman, I'll be committing adultery.
Well, wouldn't that be her fault for not joining you? I'm not trying to start anything. I'm just curious.
It could be to a certain extent. A listener texted in and said, I'm so old now I'd probably miss the signals anyway. And let me tell you something. You don't have to be old to miss the signals. You just have to be a big, stupid dude.
Yep.
And every swinging D has missed. And it's funny because I just had this story come up Saturday night. I was shooting pool with some friends. And we got to talking about how big and dumb and ridiculous we men are, to where we miss obvious signals sometimes from women. And they Ashley, you've probably dumped some hardcore signals on a dude or two, and he doesn't react at all, and you think, Jesus, this guy's the dumbest sumbitch I ever met in my life.
Yeah, definitely.
I told this story. This was, I don't know, how old am I now? This has got to be, 15 years ago. I was at my regular Thursday night bar gig up at Pov's. My God, the fun we had up at Pov's. And there was this absolutely gorgeous blonde who came in there every Thursday night, and this gal was, to quote the older fellas will know what I'm talking about, stacked, built. This gal was that. And she was about 22, 23 years old, and for whatever reason, she thought I was cute. And we'd talk on Thursday nights, flirt a little bit, right? And this is how friggin' stupid I am. One night, she approaches me and says, what are you doing this weekend? And I said, I'm not doing anything. And she said, I'm going on vacation. I'm going down to Mexico or something in a handful of days, and I need a new bikini. Would you come with me and, help me do some bikini shopping for my trip to Mexico? I'm going to go to the Mall of America and hit this. I honestly think that the store she wanted me to go to with her in the Mall of America, Josh, I believe it was called the Wet Spot.
Oh, man.
It was a bikini shop. It's simply what it was. So she says, would you come to the Mall of America? Here she is, this gorgeous, blonde, stacked 22, 23-year-old. Would you come help me bikini shop for my trip to Mexico? And I said, I really don't like Bloomington or the Mall of America. And I don't really like shopping. So, no thanks. Have fun, but I'm not interested.
Yeah, the first thing that came to mind for me is I hate shopping, especially clothes shopping. No way.
So she walks away. And I'm sure I left her wildly confused with my answer. She walks away, and about 3 minutes later, I'm just sitting there, doing nothing, which is what a lot of our bar gigs consist of. I'm sitting there doing nothing about 3 minutes later, and suddenly I say to myself, "Oh, Jesus Christ!" And I run over to her and I said, "Yes, I will join you on Saturday to go bikini shopping. Absolutely, I will."
Well, for me, I think I would just assume, I've been friend zoned. That she invited me to do something like that.
Oh, sure.
I'm totally in the friend zone.
Even bikini shopping?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Well,
I would absolutely assume, shoot, that's too bad.
As bright as you are, Josh, that's that big dumb animal dude problem. You know what I mean?
What do you mean?
Well, as bright as you are, you still can be the clueless donkey.
Oh, I hear what you're saying.
Because if a woman asks you to go bikini shopping, maybe I'm only basing this on one experience, but I don't think she's trying to put you in the friend zone.
Yeah, I still kind of think it'd probably be a friend zone situation. But you know what? For self-esteem purposes, it would be better to think I just missed the signals versus no signals were sent. That's the better alternative, I'd say.
I'll tell you what, and it ended up being maybe the most wonderful non-sexual afternoon I ever spent with a girl. I mean, oh my God. There I am, I'm sitting in the little chair in the dressing room area, and she's windmilling in and out of this dressing room. What do you think of this one? What do you think? And she knew what she was doing, too. This one's really small, don't you think? And I said, well, yeah, it is. You know what I mean? It was all, she's trying to get me more interested, and it freaking worked.
Hey, guys. We're going on a national bikini tour, and we're looking for 2 oil boys who can grease us up before each competition.
You are in luck. There's a town about 3 miles that way. I'm sure you'll find a couple guys there.
Okay, thanks.
Do you realize what you've done? Hey! Lloyd! You'll have to excuse my friend. He's a little slow. The town is back that way.
It's still frightening how close I came to blowing that completely. No, I don't like Bloomington or shopping, but thanks anyway. What an idiot.
When you were shopping with her, were you getting dirty looks from the people that worked at the store?
Wapple, I didn't notice anyone else on planet Earth. There could have been a marching band and aliens in the dressing room with me, and I would not have noticed them. If you're curious, the two of us ended up having a brief but torrid relationship. But it still can't believe that I almost completely missed that. What an idiot. Don't you think this swimsuit's just really big? I mean, look how sagging it is. I'm falling right out of it, aren't I? Yes, you are. There you go. Well, what else is going on around here? Everyone have a dynamite weekend?
Yeah, pretty good weekend. Too fast.
Always. Would you say it was too fast, too furious?
No, Dana, I wouldn't say that.
I bet yours involved a Fast and Furious movie or two.
I did watch Fast 10, yeah.
I thought so.
Ashley, how was your Halloween? You went to a Halloween party.
She hosted.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, you hosted a Halloween?
No, I didn't. Mine isn't until later October.
The one we're not invited to.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
How was the Halloween party that you attended?
It was a lot of fun.
Were there any fights?
No fights.
No drama?
No drama. Well, I don't know. I left, so there might have been drama after I left.
Run down the list of slutty costumes.
Oh.
No, there was no costumes.
Oh. Well, that's not a Halloween party.
It was just very Halloween themed. Yeah, there was a Halloween themed food and Halloween themed drinks and Halloween themed games, all that fun stuff.
Well, that sucks.
There was a hand made out of meat and cheese. That was pretty cool.
Of yeah.
A slutty hand made out of meat and cheese?
Yes, Josh, yes.
You have to cut into the hand, right?
Yeah.
I've seen that gimmick.
A charcuterie board.
Terribly unnerving.
I love Carcucci boards.
All right, this morning, Randy Shaver and Brad Ryder should be ducking in to talk to us around 7:30. We can get into the piles and piles of things going on with sports, with the baseball playoffs, and then the Vikings, I think, are still involved, and this and that. Dr. P. Jesus?
Yeah, he'll be here.
8:30 this morning to straighten out any of your health concerns. We'll take a break. Come back here in a minute on the Half-Ass Morning Show.
The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show.
Our experienced and certified technicians at Standard Heating have been trusted to keep our fellow Minnesotans comfortable and confident for over 90 years. We're ready to do the same for you, providing comfort you deserve since 1930.
And now is a great time to join their team. Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is currently hiring experienced and entry-level HVAC technicians, dedicated to improving the work-life balance of their employees by providing benefits that include parental leave and 401k match. Apply today at standardheating.com.
Every Monday, Rich Eisen and Chris Brockman react to what's happening in the world of football on Overreaction Monday.
The AFC North. Not all 4 teams going to make the playoffs.
More likely than not.
More likely than not, right?
Okay.
And I know they've been the king of this jungle for the last few seasons. The Cincinnati Bengals, Rich, are going to miss the playoffs this year.
This is an overreaction. Bengals are not only making the playoffs, they're winning this division. Oh, again, for a third straight year.
Overreaction Monday, the podcast, wherever you listen.
Stupid news on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it. The stupid news. Before we head in that direction, we were chatting a little bit earlier about how this is the big week. Thursday, we head on out to St. Croix Casino, Turtle Lake, for all the fun and this and that, hanging out at the casino. We leave Thursday afternoon, get there Thursday night, little broadcast Friday morning that no one's going to pay attention to, hopefully, and then all kinds of fun. Speaking of Wisconsin, got a text message from Play Freebird Jesus, and he's checking in with a financial overhang from going to Phipps Gentlemen's Club in Hayward, Wisconsin over the weekend. We just talked about Phipps on Friday with our military pal, John. Last Friday we were talking about Phipps. Well, it happens. Play Freebird Jesus. I bet it was worth it. On to the stupid news. You know, my poor drunken behavior almost caused this to happen once, where an airplane full of people has to turn around and go back to where it came from. If it wasn't for Josh, that would have happened.
Yeah, you were in that situation.
And I would have been incarcerated. Everyone, please thank Josh for saving my career and my criminal record.
Thanks, Josh.
Thanks, Josh.
Hey, you guys are welcome.
Hey, you did a great service that day.
Absolutely. Here we go, an airplane filled with passengers on their way to Tampa, Florida from Panama had to spin the hell around and come back to the airport where it came from. Word is, while they were flying across the sky, somebody found a suspicious object in one of the plane's bathrooms. That's the kind of thing nobody takes lightly anymore. The fear was that the suspicious object, or as Ashley would call it, the sus obj, the fear was that it might be a damn bomb. So like I said, they spun the sumbitch around, they brought it back to Panama, they unloaded all the pissed off and or frightened people to give this airplane a once-over. An anti-explosives team shows up, Josh, to inspect the airplane. The special forces type folks, bomb-sniffing dogs, the whole works. And after all the mayhem, the suspicious object turned out to be well, let's do the guessing game. What do you think it was? The suspicious object. It wasn't that big of a deal after all. It was a what, Ashley? Go!
Dildo?
It was a dildo. Has got.
That's exactly what I was going to say, Ashley.
Speaking of dildos, Dana, your guess.
All right, so Ashley took dildo.
Yeah, she did.
Oh, come on.
Now I'm really mad at myself. A slingshot.
Wobble!
A water bottle.
It was an adult diaper. Ashley had the best guess by far.
Thank you.
Yeah, she had the best guess. Now, there's no word here on the freshness of this grown folks diaper. I like to believe there was a big fat log in there, but that's just because I always hope for the best.
I feel so bad for those bomb-sniffing dogs. They didn't sign up for that.
Yeah.
Do you think there was something in there, Josh?
Yeah, I'm going to say so. Somebody abandoned it for that reason.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
That's got to be it.
Yeah.
They made a mess of that adult diaper. They didn't want to sit in it all the way to Florida or wherever the hell they were going, so they crumpled it up. They tried to hide it. Somebody spotted it. So
and I can imagine the dogs looking at its handler like, what the F, man? Why would you do this to me? Is this a prank? Are you guys messing with me?
This doesn't smell anything like heroin. So once it was real simple. They swept it into a garbage bag, and then they fired everybody back up on the airplane and flew their way out of there. What a nightmare. Now, this is concerning right here. This next story. In Nebraska, a funeral home worker who transports dead human carcasses has been accused of banging the hell out of a sex doll. I had you worried there for a minute, didn't I?
Yeah.
I'd like to believe that I had you. He's been accused of banging the hell out of a sex doll that he found in the apartment of a dead person.
Oh.
Ryan Smith is the name of the fella that's in trouble here. He's up to 41 years old now. The story says that he and a coworker were dispatched last week to an apartment to collect the body of someone or another who died there. When they got there, a sex doll was sitting inside the place. Oh, I wonder if some poor bastard died while crushing his rubber sex doll.
Be a good way to go out.
We don't have that information here. So when the two funeral home guys who collect carcass, when they got there, there's this sex doll in the room. And it must have been love at first sight for this Smith guy. Because he went ahead and called the manager of the apartment complex. I love this. And he claimed that the local cops asked him to collect the sex doll for evidence. The cops have asked me to do something. The sex doll in here? Yeah, they've asked me to bring it to them. It's an evidence thing.
Yeah, dude, you can just have it. I don't want it.
The apartment manager wasn't buying that story, and he said, no, don't take anything out of there. You guys are the carcass collectors. Grab the carcass and get the hell out. Don't be taking anything out of there. The apartment manager, smart person. I might, if I was the apartment manager, I probably would have bought that and said, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, me too.
But the apartment manager said, no, you're not taking anything out of there. Well, later that day, the apartment manager returned to the apartment. He's got to do some things over there. And he heard noises coming through the walls. The door to the apartment was locked with a deadbolt and the chain, that whole gimmick. So the manager couldn't get in there to see what all the noises were about. So he waited outside. And after a while, here comes this Smith wacko out of the apartment, looking all disheveled.
Wanting a Gatorade.
Kind of like the walk of shame look we were talking about last week with Janelle Klein. His hair's all messed up. He's tucking his shirt into his pants. He looked like he just power humped a sex doll. So the apartment manager called the cops. And now this Smith guy, he's staring smooth at a felony burglary charge. And someone might have to explain this to me. I guess the cops are pulling DNA up out of the sex doll, and that might lead to even more charges for this guy. What would the charge be? Some kind of illegal orgasm or something?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Not sure what that's all about. The article included a picture of a sex doll. I don't know if it was the sex doll.
Yeah, I saw that picture. Cody.
But I could see the temptation.
Oh.
But reason I hope would take over.
Oh.
I can't F this dead man's sex.
Right, exactly.
I'm a professional.
Good point. Good
I'm gonna get my own.
But the temptation is for real skis.
It's nice you have standards, Josh.
She kind of looks like Lara Croft from Tomb Raider.
Then never mind. I'm banging that sex doll.
She's dressed up like her and all that kind of, a little more revealing than what you'd expect her to wear. But
this Smith guy was fired from his job driving dead bodies around town.
Yeah, I would wonder what else is going on. And just pray this was an isolated incident. Nothing worse was happening.
It kind of reminds me of, has everyone here seen the 1990 documentary called The Adventures of Ford Fairlane?
No, it's on my list.
There's a scene. Ford Fairlane is a rock and roll detective, and he's investigating the death of a lead singer by the name of Bobby Black from the band Black Plague. But anyway, eventually there's at one point or another, there's a car chase, and the star of the documentary, Ford Fairlane, the only car available to him is a hearse, and he's chasing the bad guy in a hearse, and in the back, there's a dead woman, and she has the biggest breasts on planet Earth. And he turns around and he notices, and he says, "Damn, baby, I hope you filled out some of them organ donor cards." But eventually, she's alive. She was just on drugs. She wakes up. Just watch the documentary. Here's a Halloween attraction down there in Florida you might dig. Anyone gone off to the hayride or the this, that, the corn maze?
Yeah. Yep. Went to Onion Head's Revenge at the Ball of America.
Same.
Visited Ashley out there.
Anything else?
That's it for me so far.
No corn maze, no hayride? Josh and I are not afraid to admit that we held hands once at a haunted hayride.
It was too scary.
Because it was scary.
You got to do what you got to do.
Yes,
and
it
I
was.
thought I was smart, obviously talking a big game. This isn't scary. There's no way I'm scared. Everybody else appears scared, but not me. And then I thought I'd sit right in the middle of the hayride. And I thought nobody would know. That was a coward seat.
You didn't want to be on the edges of that trailer.
No, it just so happened I ended up in the middle of that
right
thing.
in the middle. A good three people on either side of him. Who's going to get him that way, right?
I got human shields. I'm buried in here. Yeah, just a man sitting down with no fear. But they figured it out, and they came right at me with a chainsaw.
They did.
And one of the people later had said, "Yeah, we know that move.
Yeah.
We know exactly what's going on."
You can't fool us.
Tell us what that chainsaw is capable of again, Josh.
It'll make your ass raw.
Make your ass raw. Okay.
Didn't he call you a laughing bitch?
That's the same place and the same experience. That was a killer clown when we walked through the haunted house. He surprised me so much I started laughing, and then he called me a laughing bitch in an intimidating voice, which of course caused more laughter on my part. I'll never forget that moment. He's the one that got away. Do they still have those chance encounters in the back of City Pages or something like that?
I remember those, yeah. Missed connections.
Yeah, you called me, you were dressed as a clown and called me a laughing bitch. I was a laughing bitch.
I bet
Let's get together.
I bet he says that to all the boys.
I hope not. Why would you say that to me?
That brings up something funny. The missed connections section of City Pages. Hilarious.
Yes.
I haven't looked through that. Every once in a while, I'd cruise through there, hoping that, hey, that's me.
I always did as well.
It looks like they have an Instagram page.
City
Who
Pages?
has a Instagram page?
Twin Cities Missed Connections.
Oh. Yeah, I was always hoping I'd look in there and it would say, you had bad teeth and wouldn't shut up about the 19 Olympic hockey team, 1980 Olympic hockey team, and had a big chew in your lip. I never had the chance to tell you how much I love you. It never happened, though.
There's still one on Craigslist, too.
Oh, that one would frighten me.
Yeah, that's dangerous.
Craigslist. I'm on Craigslist. Oh, here's this Halloween attraction in Florida. It's tucked away in a place called the Lake Helen Cemetery. It's a big brick chair, or maybe more like a throne, it looks to me. And it's known by the locals as the Devil's Chair. And some say if you hang around long enough, the devil himself might communicate with you. It's a popular spot. And they don't put up with baloney. Word is the cemetery has guards posted around this time of year to try and keep morons from ruining everything. If they catch anybody in there after 7 p.m., they'll kick your ass. And like I said, the reason derelicts and wacky Halloween lovers might want to get into the joint late at night is, according to the stories, if you sit in the big brick chair at midnight, the devil will communicate with you.
Does sound kind of fun.
Yeah, I mean, why not have a little chat?
What would you ask the devil for? If you got a chance to sit on his lap, Ashley, you could ask him for anything you want.
That's a good question.
2 chicks at the same time?
Yeah, maybe some money or like good health.
But the devil's not.
Yeah, the devil's not going to help you with that.
No,
I mean,
then I want money.
what the
Then
hell?
yeah,
Who do you think
greed.
you're
it's got to
talking
be
to?
evil. Yeah,
I don't know,
money.
I thought maybe there's a way he could work it out. Yeah,
no, he
money.
doesn't want you to have good health.
No,
because he gets your soul once you die in an unnatural, too young way.
I thought for sure you were going to ask me to kill somebody.
Yeah, me too.
Well, that's what I would ask. I'd ask him to kill some folks. Anyway, they also say the devil enjoys a cold beer once in a while. If you place an unopened can of beer on the chair, it will be empty the next morning, just like when my dad spends the night at my house. But of course, there is a reasonable explanation behind all this. A local in town that's been around for a while, he said people used to come and get drunk at the graveyard. They'd put their beer next to the chair, thinking that the devil is going to drink the beer, but it wasn't the devil drinking the beer, it was us teenagers. And after the teenage kids snagged that free beer and drained it, they'd put the can back, and then people believed that the devil drank it. The local drunk said it was an ongoing prank that they would play on folks who believed in the Steve Weiser drinking devil story. He said, we'd pop the top on the beer. It made a noise. It's a glorious noise, by the way. Beer drinkers know that noise. We'd pop the top on the beer. These people would turn around to see what the noise was, but we'd hide. And then they'd see the beer can was empty, and they'd take off running. They messed with the believers. I'm not sure if I've ever seen one of these. I don't spend much time at cemeteries, but the history behind the chair is during the 19th century, they say here, Josh. The 19th stone seating chairs were added to cemetery plots. They called them mourning chairs, and they gave folks a place to sit down while paying respects to the dead.
You go now, I mean, I don't know if you guys have any loved ones you visit regularly at a cemetery, but you see people out there just kind of, especially on a holiday, you'll see folks sitting out there in lawn chairs for a long time.
Yep.
We used to do that. Well, when I was younger and still had to do what my parents requested of me. My mother enjoyed going to one particular cemetery where many of her family members are buried, and we would have a picnic, and I thought it was all very weird to be sitting there having a bologna and cheese sandwich with all these dead people around, but that was a regular thing for our family. But that's kind of a cool prank. You get some of these folks in the cemetery that believe that the devil's going to do this or that. You hide behind some headstones. You do the beer trick. People run screaming. That's cute. Probably the best scary prank I ever pulled off was we all piled into the movie theater many years ago to go see the Blair Witch Showdown. What was the end of that theme?
Project,
the Blair Witch Project. And I was married at the time, and everyone's going, Christ almighty, the guy's been married twice? Yeah, this is a long time ago. I was married 25 years ago, and one of my wife's best friends was horrified by this movie, terrified by the Blair Witch Project. Fast forward maybe a couple of months, and this gal who is so afraid of the movie is moving. She's moving to California. And we, my wife and I at the time, are hosting her going away party. And I spent all afternoon making those stick figures out of sticks, if you remember from the movie.
Yeah.
And hanging them from trees, big ones, little ones, and gathering sticks and wrapping them up with a flannel shirt, just like with the movie. Okay. And so she walks up the driveway and just,
I forget which one, but didn't Zach Parisi say he did the exact same thing to his brother Jordan? Or was it the other way around?
It sounds familiar.
Yeah, I think so. They did. One of those two did that to the other one and got him pretty good.
But Zach or Jordan told us that great story about their dad. Where
that's an even better story.
Yeah, Zach and Jordan were very young, and they're trick-or-treating together. It was the first year that their parents said, no, you guys can go ahead on your own. You're old enough, right? But they were still pretty little. Back in those days, that happened. Nowadays, parents follow the kids everywhere. Back in our day, you actually were able to go out on your own after a certain... So the old man, JP, says, you guys go ahead. And they're walking down the sidewalk doing their trick-or-treating, and suddenly they notice there's this grown man following them. I think he had a scary mask on and was holding a baseball bat or something. And they're like, oh, my God, this guy's following us. And eventually, after a while, he comes out, I'll kill you bastards. And the kids, Jordan and Zach, they run for their lives. It was the friggin' dad.
Ruthless.
It was JP.
Social anxiety, Jesus said Jordan was the one that made those little stick figures for Zach.
Is that right?
So creepy.
Yeah. All right. All that devil talking to you in the cemetery stuff. That's ridiculous. Let's get back to reality here. I am reality. What movie? 651-989-9393.
Tombstone.
That's a good guess. Here, I'll give you more.
Well, on this show, Slapshot. I'm playing the odds. Caddyshack.
No, this is going way deeper than I normally go, Josh.
Platoon?
Pardon me?
Is it Platoon?
Oh, yeah. Nice.
Well done.
I was about ready to give you more of a hint, but why do you guys smoke this stuff? Escape reality? I am reality. Nice work, Cubby.
Well, I just saw it a couple weeks ago.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
What the hell had you watch Platoon a couple weeks ago?
It was on.
Oh.
And I'd never seen the full thing. Is it Super Troopers? No. Is it Hellraiser? No. Here we go. Here's a Platoon.
Yeah.
From a 7.63 year.
I got a couple now. There you go. Good work. Back to reality. And it doesn't get much more real than this. Some dude got in such a terrible motorcycle accident that one of his effing nuts got blasted up into his abdomen.
Oh.
It went back. That's where they start, right? It's like, F this, I'm going back.
I've seen enough.
Cubby loves puns. Even as unsympathetic as it seems, this story does have a cute pun for you. Talking about a guy who had one of his pills shoot back up into his guts. They say it was a, quote, gut turball.
Sure was.
An unidentified and wildly unlucky 20-some-odd-year-old pimp in Italy got into a motorcycle accident. The impact of the crash reportedly forced one of his gonads smooth out of his bag. It cruised through something called the inguinal canal, which is a small passageway in the groin-ski, and it landed in his abdomen. And from what I understand, this was some kind of a medical miracle, I guess. Going balls to the intestinal walls is very rare. When dude showed up at the hospital fresh from his bike crash, doctors also saw that he had a serious pelvic fracture, which I'm sure didn't feel very good, but they had to do one of those CT scans to find his missing testy. And they found it up there in his stomach, Summers. This is interesting. It says here, doctors then once they got it out of his gut, they warmed his ball up for him before locking it back into place. You got to warm it up with, I don't know, a pizza oven or something. I don't know what they use to warm a loose testicle up with. I don't know if he just put it in a blanket. 6 months after the accident, the guy's gear has returned to normal. He's firing off like any other bro his age. Motorcycle-induced testicular displacement. It says here, it happens. I guess which makes sense. You're kind of leading with your bag as you travel along on some motorcycles.
Mm-hmm.
But says here, who's that now?
I've destroyed mine on just a bike.
Oh, who
I think we
hasn't?
all have, yeah.
Oh, for God's sake.
Multiple times.
Constantly bashing your nuts into your bicycle when you were a kid. Okay, so what happens? motorcycle-induced testicular displacement, but it says here that only 6% of the time does a NAD come loose and then make its way to the abdomen. Makes you want to run out and buy a big old motorbike, doesn't it?
Well, especially since they said, I believe, 80% of the total cases are from motorcycle accidents. I mean, of all the ways you can hurt yourself.
What is this now? A listener named Catherine? What? Why would I think the name was Catherine? Yeah, here it is. Catherine says you warm a ball up by rubbing it a lot. Yeah? Maybe that's all the doctors did. Maybe they just rubbed that little thing until it reached the desired temperature.
Get the ball rubber in here.
I'd want to pick my own, wouldn't you guys?
Yes.
Oh, your own personal ball rub?
Yeah. Oh, not that guy.
No.
That guy.
Just some old dude. Part-time ball rubber, part-time, janitor.
He's just mad I don't make enough for this. Rubbing people's balls.
Yeah, I wonder what a ball rubber does make.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully a lot of money.
Got to go to school for that, do you think?
4-year
I'm sure there's an art to it.
Master's degree.
Yeah, you don't want to do it too hard. I mean, sometimes it doesn't take much pressure to really hurt you.
None of the people that I met that were great ball rubbers seemed too educated to me. So.
Maybe that's how you got into it.
Did you hear about this tough old bastard? Last month, dude got his jaw ripped off for him by a big old grizzly bear. Well, he's up and running again, and he wants to return to the woods of Montana, where it all happened, so he can fight round 2.
That's awesome.
What
a badass.
Rudy Norlander is this fella's name. He's 61. He's good to go now after undergoing a complete jaw reconstruction. He had to go through 3 major surgeries at the University of Utah. He was there for over a month. But this sumbitch came face to face with a bear while hunting deer in a place called the Custer Gallatin National Forest on September 8th. This happened. Sounds like maybe he fired at the big bastard, but he missed, and the next thing you know, he's wrestling the effing thing. The bear scratched up his chest for him. It bit him on the arms and his legs, but the most traumatic injury was what this Norlander described as, quote, the worst French kiss of his life. The bear bit his jaw off for him. I didn't anticipate that when I first read the headline. I figured the bear would have just pulled it off of him.
Yeah,
but
just pawed him or something.
It bit the jaw off of him.
Ugh.
The hunters he was with scared the bear away, called for a helicopter rescue. It took 2 hours for the rescue crew to get there. And there he was, laid out with no jaw, fully conscious. How do you say that? Fully conscious for the entire stretch. Jesus, I just pray I'd pass out or die.
I would assume I'd be dead. Yeah, there's no way. 2 hours?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my goodness.
A doctor was able to reconstruct this man's jaw using a portion of his fibula bone ski. He's not able to eat solid foods just yet. He can't talk. So he has a dry erase board to communicate until he can fully jaw jack. But he says, I can't wait to get back out in the woods. I will win round 2.
I'm going to kill the bear.
I believe him.
He is going to kill the bear, isn't he? His daughter says that she, how did she say this? His daughter was cute. She rejected that idea, and she said, I would like for him not to do that.
Oh, that's adorable.
What did he say here? Oh, he's very inspiring as well. He said, even when there seems to be no hope, just keep on a-fighting.
Yeah, it'd be tough not to feel sorry for yourself in that situation. He's got a great attitude.
Mm-hmm. He looks like, if I was to pick 5 guys that might be able to beat a bear in hand-to-hand combat, I think he'd be in my top 5. The others would be Brian Cage, Wardlow, Powerhouse Hobbs,
No bear country, huh?
Oh, well, they're no longer a gimmick. Yeah, that would have been a good one, bear country, for you AEW fans. Here's some unlucky suckers. We'll close out with this one. Unlucky bastards who had a freaking giraffe damn near come clean through the windshield of their car.
Sounds kind of terrifying.
In Texas. When the hell did giraffes move over here? Sorry. No, they were at one of those drive-through zoo-type setups. You ever been to one of those?
I have, yeah.
Yes, they're
Animals,
so much fun.
They stick their head in the window and they eat your tiny little cup of peanuts and you're out within 30 seconds.
Yep.
Yeah.
I did one in South Dakota once, and a giant bear just climbed up on top of someone's car and just scratched the hell out of the thing.
Oh, no.
Oh.
Now we're talking.
How do you explain that to your insurance company?
Right. Well, there was a bear.
A gal named Carrie and a few of her kids took a trip to something called the Fossil Rim Wildlife Center in Texas, where you can drive around. They got all different kinds of animals wandering around up in there. You can feed the animals. They parked by the giraffes, and one of them stuck its head through the sunroof, and everyone's laughing their balls off. Big fat-ass tongue comes shooting out of its yap, and it's licking at everything. But then the giraffe lost its footing and fell onto the windshield of the car.
Oh, poor giraffe.
And it's just on its back and kicking.
That's sweet. A klutzy giraffe.
Yeah, I think that
could be a cartoon or something.
I think I've seen that played out in a cartoon where a giraffe can't even cross the giraffe panicked and just kicked the piss out of their windshield. It eventually regained its footing and it ran away. No one inside the vehicle was hurt, but they were covered with glass. Luckily, no one had to deep throat a giraffe hoof or anything. I bet that could blast all your chiclets out for you. Speaking of insurance, who said something about insurance?
Me.
The gal who was driving said her insurance company laughed their asses off when she told them how her front windshield got blasted in. That would be hilarious. I mean, yeah, it sucks that your windshield got bashed in, but what I'm talking about is specifically watching a giraffe try to get itself straightened out while sitting on the hood of a car. I bet would be a lot of fun to watch.
Family Guy would make it into a 10-minute long.
That's true. And then when you think it's over, there's another 15 minutes of it.
Totally.
That would be fun to watch. What the hell? Oh, gross. Someone just made a gross joke.
Why would they do that?
I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see the gross joke?
Yeah.
Josh, it's about a giraffe coming through the windshield.
Yeah.
Maybe you can already guess where they went with that.
Sports on the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
The Colorado Buffaloes had a remarkable turnaround thanks to their coach, Deion Sanders. Here to comment is Deion Sanders.
Prime time in the house. You know what I'm saying? We just keep winning, man, every game.
Yeah. Well, you're also 4-3, so you have lost a few.
You don't understand that my team has it all, man. Coaching, genius. Offense, explosive. Defense, try it.
Just last night, you lost to Stanford in double overtime.
Wasn't that crazy? We were up 29-0 after half.
Yeah.
So I went home and fell asleep. I woke up this morning shocked as anyone. But come on, man, nobody's perfect. Name one team that's undefeated.
Okay, well, there's Georgia.
Right.
Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
Ohio State.
That's another one.
Florida State.
Forgot about them.
Oklahoma.
Sure.
Penn State.
Indeed.
Washington.
Good team.
North Carolina.
Tar Heels.
Air Force.
And see, that's exactly my point.
What is your point?
Colin, coaching is a higher calling.
That's right. You started coaching your career, right, at Jackson State.
God called me there, and he said, this is your destiny.
Right, and then 3 years later, you went to Colorado.
Yes, that's right. Because God called me again and was like, my bad. It's prime time, baby.
It sure is. Deion Sanders, everyone.
Saturday Night Live had a little fun with Prime Time. And it turned out great because that Keenan character is so funny.
He is so good.
What's his name again?
Keenan Thompson.
Keenan Thompson.
Yep. One of my favorites.
He had a couple really good bits.
Must be the money.
When they were making fun of the Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift thing, Keenan Thompson was very funny in that as well.
Yeah, they had fun with that whole deal, too, on the show, didn't they? Hey, here's the deal, Josh. I just got a text message that says, I want to give a huge happy birthday to Matt Vanda.
Oh, total badass. The Predator, 45 today. I miss having him in studio.
When we, in the 90s and early 2000s, we got to be friendly with a local boxer by the name of Matt Vanda, and we wish him the best. Haven't seen him in a long time, haven't heard much about him in a long time, but we had some effing fun with that guy, and absolutely happy birthday to the Predator. I used to walk into bars with Matt and mouth off to everybody in the joint.
You didn't have to be with him. You just have to say you know him.
Sometimes I just said I knew him. All right, there you go. The Vikings defense helped them squeak past the Chicago Bears yesterday. 19-13 was the damn final. Defense, 4 straight turnovers. And they still almost lost, but they didn't lose. The Bears had a chance there at the end, but the dude threw an intercept. So there you go. We'll get into more details on that Viking game in about a half hour. Texas Rangers took game 1 of the American League Championship Series last night. 2-0. Hey, anytime you can shut out that friggin' lineup for the Houston Astros, you're doing something right.
Seriously.
Their starter last night for the Rangers, Jordan Montgomery, was terrific. Game 2 is tonight. Today, I should say. Game 1 of the NLCS is tonight, and we'll cover that with the schmucks I was telling you about a minute ago. Don't go anywhere there. Josh's News is coming up next.
The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show.
Our experienced and certified technicians at Standard Heating have been trusted to keep our fellow Minnesotans comfortable and confident for over 90 years. We're ready to do the same for you, providing comfort you deserve since 1930.
And now is a great time to join their team. Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is currently hiring experienced and entry-level HVAC technicians, dedicated to improving the work-life balance of their employees by providing benefits that include parental leave and 401k match. Apply today at standardheating.com.
We're all juggling life, a career, and trying to build a little bit of wealth. The Brown Ambition podcast with host Mandy and Tiffany the Budgetnista can help.
If I do even consider lending, I always ask myself, will this solve the problem? So I know you don't have your money for mortgage because you don't have a job. So what happens next month? Oh, I don't know. I'm going to have to think about the next month. Now, it's another thing if you're like, hey, Tiffany, I have $1,000 left to pay on my car and then I'm car note free and I'll be able to pay you back, the 3 months I used to pay my car note. That solves the problem.
Brown Ambition.
Wherever you listen.
Half-Assed Morning Show. 93X.
Gonna have to definitely take a medical break. Eventually, he'll try to go back.
I might take a little break, but I'll definitely be back coaching.
Out-of-control parents aiming their ire at coaches is nothing new, but usually they don't escalate to nearly deadly levels of lunacy, as in the case of an incident last week which nearly killed a coach in front of his 9- and 10-year-old players.
Oh!
The St. Louis Volunteer youth coach was shot in the back Tuesday by a father who was ticked off over his son's playing time. 30-year-old Shaquille Lattimore was wounded when 43-year-old Daryl Clemens allegedly shot him 4 times after a weeks-long feud finally boiled over during practice last week. I didn't see his gun until it was already too late. I ran and he shot me in the back. I fell and then he shot me a couple more times, Lattimore said. Clemens, who used to coach the same team before Lattimore came on board, allegedly taunted him while he was on the ground before other adults jumped in. Lattimore told authorities Clemens was upset with him for not starting his son. The coach, a married father of 5, was taken to the hospital for treatment and is now in stable condition. He said he was surprised and humbled by the amount of support he's received from the community.
Kind of brings me to tears. I didn't know I had this much support just doing something that small, just coaching kids, just trying to get them on the right direction.
The victim's mother called the shooting senseless.
Can you even, well, of course you can believe it because this isn't completely rare and ridiculous these days, but you can't help but laugh. It's just so...
Thank God this guy survived, but over playing time?
Yeah.
My goodness.
Unreal.
Although I do give him credit for having the courage to shoot the man in the back. A lot of guys wouldn't do that. A prominent Houston pastor has been ordered to pay over $2 million to a woman who he gave herpes to.
Oh, God dang.
After a 3-day trial and 6.5 hours of deliberation, the jury unanimously found Reverend Ralph West II liable for passing the STD. You can't fix it. She's got it for the rest of her life, said Sean Murphy, the woman's attorney. Murphy spoke for his client, who a jury found contracted genital herpes from West after meeting him on Facebook.
The things that we look at for cases like these are essentially four things. Is the defendant infected, and how can we prove it? Did he know he was infected, and do we have evidence of that? Through the medical records, able to identify that he was the source of it, in part because she hadn't been with anybody else.
He added that he was able to prove those facts, along with evidence showing the Bible/congregant banger lied about his herpes and spreading it when the pastor and the church-going woman had unprotected sexualness.
When she asks, where did this come from? His response was his son's mother. She accuses him of knowing he had it, of giving it to her, and there's other allegations about not caring.
Aside from the financial aspect, Murphy said his client hopes this spreads awareness that people can and should be held accountable for knowingly putting their partner at risk for STDs.
It's awful. Such an awful thing.
Yeah, the guy just decided he wasn't going to tell her.
This guy was a priest of some level?
Yeah, pastor.
A pastor.
Yeah. Gonorrhea is the strongest creature alive. It can pull 100,000 times its body weight.
Whoa.
It's pretty impressive.
I know a guy who had gonorrhea once.
Was his name Dana?
No, his name was Wobble.
I had gonorrhea.
That's true, it was, wasn't it?
Just for the record, Dana, you know two guys who had gonorrhea.
A Florida teacher was arrested Friday after threatening a student, and the threat was pretty specific. He said he was going to teabag him. Police said 55-year-old Michael Bradford, who worked as a teacher at Chamberlain High School, became upset with a 16-year-old student because he refused to take part in personal training. As a result, Bradford reportedly stood over the student who was planking. He smacked the teen's butt and said, "Here comes the teabag."
No.
It's not entirely clear if the D-bag followed through with the teabag, but after the teen stood up, he grabbed him by the neck before the teen was able to get away. Police said the teen tried to call his parent, but Bradford reportedly grabbed the phone from the student and eventually threw it toward a truck in the parking lot. While the student wasn't injured, school staff notified the school resource officer, and Bradford was escorted to his personal office. And that wasn't it. Investigators explained that a handgun and loaded magazine were found in his office's cabinet, which you can't have on school grounds.
This guy's quite a character.
The teacher was arrested and faces charges of child abuse and possession of a firearm on school property.
Teachers threatening tea bags, priests dishing out herpes. Youth football coaches shooting each other near to death.
Well, his kid wasn't getting the playing time he deserved.
That is true. I should focus on the facts and the motivation behind such things.
A female Army sergeant in England's been demoted for pulling down a colleague's pants and licking her forehead. Staff Sergeant Kaylee Preston allegedly pulled down the lower-ranked soldier's trousers at work. She then grabbed Sergeant Louise St. Louis's underwear and pointed out that it matched the color of her pants. At another meeting, she licked her junior colleague's forehead, but claimed it was just, quote, banter. She was later disciplined and found guilty of ill treatment of a subordinate, which led to her being reduced in rank and ordered to pay her victim just under $1,000.
I'll be dipped.
A North Dakota family was woken up by loud banging noises in the dead of the night, and a dad found a naked and highly intoxicated man trashing his daughter's bedroom. Bismarck police responded to the home just before 3 a.m. Friday, October 6th, and found the male homeowner holding the birthday suit-clad intruder at gunpoint. The homeowners told police they woke up to loud sounds coming from downstairs. They told police they found the suspect trashing their daughter's unoccupied bedroom and throwing toys and clothes around the room. The intruder reportedly told the homeowner he was there to pick up clothing for himself. They said the man destroyed a shoe rack in their entry closet and caused hundreds of dollars in damages in their daughter's bedroom.
Shoe rack?
The couple said the man, who was highly intoxicated, may have mistaken their home for a neighbor's house. He could face up to 10 years in prison.
Oh, man. That's how he planned on behaving even if he was in the correct house?
Yeah, I don't know what was happening there. He's mad he couldn't find his stuff. A Louisiana nurse survived an attempted spork stabbing by a patient, police said.
Ooh.
Officers were dispatched Thursday to Glenwood Regional Health Center's Behavioral Health Unit in reference to a disturbance around 2 a.m. Upon arrival at the West Monroe facility, hospital staff told cops 19-year-old Madison Bingham had been extremely combative and aggressive towards staff and made numerous threats. The patient was arrested after a nurse said Bingham attempted to stab her with a plastic spork. The nurse was able to dodge the alleged spork stabbing bid.
Those can get pretty sharp.
Sporks?
Yeah.
Do you know have you stabbed somebody with a spork?
What, have you been to prison or something?
An investigation's underway following a shooting between two cars in Brooklyn Park last week. Just after 3 p.m. Friday in the area of 63rd Avenue North and West Broadway, a shots fired report came into police. According to a news release from the Brooklyn Park Police Department, responding officers located a person whose vehicle had been struck by gunfire. Police said a dispute had occurred between an occupant of the vehicle and another person over an unpaid debt. The suspect fired from a different vehicle before driving away from the scene. Luckily, no injuries were reported. Got to pay those debts, man.
Yeah, you do.
You owe anybody anything, Josh?
Just the mortgage company.
See, you're in good shape.
Fortunately, a man who went missing in Moose Lake Thursday afternoon was found safely, but unfortunately, he headbutted one of the deputies, part of the search team that found him.
What do you mean? They just rescued your ass. What are you doing dumping headbutts on folks?
He didn't appreciate it, and he was arrested for the ill-advised greeting.
He wanted to stay missing.
The Carlton County Sheriff's Office received a call from a group home saying a client who was on an outing in Moose Lake ran off on foot from the staff member they were with. The staff member lost sight of the 30-year-old man about 1 p.m. A search effort was launched using numerous agencies as well as a drone team. A 7 p.m. 911 call was made reporting a man matching the description of the missing person in their driveway. Deputies arrived and were told the man had run off, but he was found a short time later nearby. As they approached the man to speak, he allegedly charged at deputies and then headbutted one, a deputy who was trying to safely take him back. He was taken to the Carlton County Jail for fourth-degree assault of a peace officer.
Jesus Christ.
No good deed.
Right.
Suzanne Summers, the actress who gained fame initially for her role as Chrissy Snow on the sitcom Three's Company, has died from breast cancer at the age of 76.
Her big break came as the lovable and klutzy Chrissy Snow.
Well, this is typical getting a girl pregnant. Only a man would do a thing like that.
She went on to TGIF fame playing Carol Lambert, America's Mom Next Door, on the comedy sitcom Step by Step.
Give us all a chance to be together as a family and talk. Whatever.
Yeah, right.
All while making the Thigh Master a household product, selling millions.
We may not have been born with great legs, but now we can look like we were.
Through the years, Summers always embraced a live life to the fullest mentality.
It's not the problems in your life that define you. It's how you respond to the problems in your life that define who you are as a person.
Summers was diagnosed with cancer twice before. She suffered skin cancer in her 30s and then breast cancer in her 50s. In July, she revealed her breast cancer had returned. Today would have been her 77th birthday.
It's too bad.
You know,
I loved that show, Three's Company, and she was funny on that.
it was very funny, and she was a talented lady. And if you weren't around in the late 70s, then you just don't know. Suzanne Summers was a flat-out phenomenon. She really was.
She went on to say that she could crush walnuts with her thighs because of the Thigh Master. And her and her husband made hundreds of millions of dollars from it.
That's impressive.
I had uncles and whatnot in the late 70s who were like the ultimate tough guys, but they never missed an episode of Three's Company so they could get a gander at Suzanne by God Summers.
Christmas Snow. Here's a couple of excerpts from last month's East Hampton, New York police blotter. This month's. At midnight, October 6th, a passing motorist called police to report a man walking in the middle of the road. The man told officers he was on his way home from a train station and didn't know there was a law against walking in the middle of the road. He was given a ride home. Close to midnight, a woman called 911 to report someone hissing and whistling in the bushes in her backyard. Police arrived but found no one. And finally, a man reported his girlfriend missing when she failed to show up for dinner or pick up her phone. Police pinged the phone and tracked her to East Hampton Village, where she was found exiting a movie theater. Apparently, she had turned off her phone for the movie, and the boyfriend freaked out. I was in a movie, bro.
Take it easy, pal.
It's like 2.5 hours max.
A Chinese woman's been charged with fraud after it was revealed she was employed by 16 different companies at the same time, but she never actually showed up to do any work at any of them. The woman, identified as Guan Yi, had reportedly been juggling over a dozen employers and collecting paychecks for at least 3 years without actually getting anything done for any of them. She and her husband, who's also a suspect in the case, allegedly kept a very tight record of employers, her exact role at each company, the date she started working for each of them, and the bank account details provided for the woman's monthly salary. She would constantly be looking for new employers, and when going to job interviews, she would take photos and send them to current employers as proof that she was meeting with clients. Believe it or not, the fraud worked flawlessly for years, allowing her to live a lavish lifestyle. Unfortunately for her, the fraudster's scheme started falling apart in January, and ironically, she was arrested right in the middle of an interview for a new job. According to Chinese media, this kind of labor fraud is a massive problem in China, with hundreds of specialized groups reportedly taking on jobs from multiple employers.
Busier than hell and didn't get anything done.
Did absolutely nothing. Getting 16 paychecks. Not a bad scam if you can get it. Netflix is planning to open new destinations where guests can dine, shop, and be immersed in themed experiences based on the platform's popular movies and shows. We've seen how much fans love to immerse themselves in the world of our movies and TV shows, and we've been thinking a lot about how we take that to the next level, the streamer said in a news release. They plan to open the first 2 locations by 2025 and then expand to other destinations worldwide.
That sounds pretty cool. Okay.
In another sign of the times, in a way people experience shows and movies these days, Best Buy is saying goodbye to movie watching with physical discs. The consumer electronics retailer plans to phase out its DVD and Blu-ray sales by early next year. So movie watchers have until this holiday season to grab all the DVDs and Blu-ray movies they can from Best Buy. To state the obvious, the way we watch movies and TV shows is much different today than it was decades ago, the company said in a statement. Of course, Best Buy isn't the only company to start moving away from physical media in recent months. Netflix's DVD by mail service officially came to a close as the company's iconic red and white envelopes made their final trip last month.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's all done. You got up until the end of the year.
It's crazy how much money I waste on DVDs in my lifetime.
I bet you got a lot.
I do.
I like having the physical copy.
A lot of people do. I saw a lot of people were pretty bummed by that. Former professional boxer, friend of the show, toughest guy I've ever had the pleasure of meeting, the Predator, Matt Vanda, 45 today. Chili Peppers bassist Flea, 61. Former Minnesota Twin Brian Harper, 64.
Brian Harper?
And as I mentioned earlier, Suzanne Summers, who passed away yesterday, would have been 77. Happy birthday to K-Bid Jesus from Hot Rod Builder Jesus, and happy 35th to Ginger Bear Jesus. That's 93X News.
Care 11's Randy Shaver
on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
A lot of things we can improve on as a football team, but the number one thing I wanted to see today was just our response. We finally did win the turnover battle.
Kick on the way, and it is good. Joseph remains perfect on the season. Cousins perfect on this drive so far. Looking in zone, caught! Touchdown! It's the rookie, Jordan Addison. And Minnesota grabs the lead late in the second quarter. Pressure coming here. And the ball is out. It's still free. And the Vikings pick it up. And Hicks is in for the scoop and score for the Minnesota Vikings. Cousins goes back, waits for the clock to hit zeros, takes a knee, and the Vikings hang on and win it here in Chicago 19-13.
Could have, should have, need to be much better on offense. I think the second half especially, want to get more going in the second half. But it does feel really good to win on the road in the division. Garrett Bradbury in the locker room pregame took a clip from the Texas Rangers and made sure that Creed got played before we went out in the field, and I felt like that may have made the difference. So we got that going for us.
Come on, the Vikings are ripping off the Texas Rangers and using Creed songs to fire them up in the locker room?
Guess it worked.
Yeah, whatever it takes, I guess.
I mean, the glaring difference here being that the Texas Rangers are playing in the American League Championship Series and the Vikings are trying to get fired up to beat one of the worst teams in all of sports. But I guess it did work. Welcome back to the program, Randy Shaver.
Well, thank you.
And Brad Ryder.
Good morning.
Brad Ryder's here, too. Did you guys have a wonderful weekend?
It was good.
Yeah, it was good.
That was Captain Death Rocks there talking about how they're doing the Creed bit.
Yeah, let's do it. Keep it going.
I was reading earlier an article about folks who have gone solo, and it just went nowhere, and Scott Stapp made the list. Guys who have gone solo from big bands and it just went absolutely nowhere. Scotty Stapp was in there.
I'd argue that Tommy Lee didn't do too much on his own without Motley Crue.
Dude, that's a good one. That's a really good one. Billy Corrigan was in there. I'm trying to think who else made that list. I'd have to look back at it. Tommy Lee is a great answer. Dude, we had to pretend like that was legitimate for a stretch of time.
Methods of Mayhem?
Here at the radio station. When we saw them in concert, and it was not meant to be funny. Josh and I could not stop laughing. It was so bad. Methods of Mayhem, is that what it was called?
Yeah. They had, I think their bigger song was New Skin, but the other one was Get Naked. Remember that?
Oh, that was so bad. We saw them open for somebody. And as soon as they hit the stage, we laughed our balls off. Couldn't stop.
I was pretty disappointed.
Could not stop until it was over. Maybe it was meant to be funny. Well, we'll ask Tommy Lee next time. Was that meant to be funny? Because if so, you are a genius. Let's go there. Break our skirt tonight. Friggin' Vikes, they squeaked past the Bears yesterday, huh, boys?
It was a win.
Whatever it takes, man.
Boy, that was a boring game.
It was so bad.
Yeah, the first half especially. I mean, wow.
I mean, even with the turnovers, it was weren't even really that exciting with how boring that game was.
It was pretty boring, huh? They forced 3 turnovers on defense. You heard Calvin O'Connor, the head coach. He's pleased that they finally won the turnover battle. What's his nuts gets hurt. The quarterback, Justin Fields. They bring in a rookie, and he had him driving there at the ass end.
Yeah, twice. They scored once.
Yeah, he got him in the end zone once, and then he had him driving there with 2 minutes left, looking like maybe he'd pull something out of his ass, but he threw a dead duck straight up in the air. And
that was rough.
Yeah, I would argue the turnovers weren't necessarily a cause of the Vikings' defense, more an ineptitude of the Bears. But hey, whatever.
I think it's more on the Bears side, personally.
Yeah.
I mean, the Jordan.
You guys aren't too fired up about this win.
The Jordan Hicks play obviously was a huge play, and the Vikings, benefit from the fumble and the return for the touchdown. Obviously, that was the key play. But Chicago's just, this is a bad. How did they get to be so bad again?
I'm not sure.
I thought they were getting better. No, you watch them and you just shake your head.
I thought last year there was some signs of turning the corner, but I guess not. The Vikes offense doesn't look like quite what you normally see without Jefferson. They look a little addled, to steal a term from Jim Ross. Addled. They look a little addled out there. So now they're 2-4, and the San Francisco 49ers come to town. Next time around, it'll be Monday Night Football.
They're not going to be a happy crew.
No.
I heard everyone on that team is hurt now.
They are banged up, so that may work in the Vikings' favor. But
Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, everybody's hurt on the 49ers.
If their offensive line and defensive line are healthy, though, that's all that matters.
Is that right?
Yes.
Well, to some degree, yes. But
yeah.
To lose a McCaffrey and lose a Samuel is pretty big.
You were bored yesterday, huh, Josh?
Yeah, it was a pretty boring game.
Well, you started sifting through porno movies on your phone or something? What do you do
like that. No.
I went outside, did yard work. I was like, this is not worth
yard work. Here's
I
Chip.
stuck around.
Did you stick around to the bitter end?
Well, I thought, here's a quarterback that's never played an NFL game. He's going to beat us somehow.
If you need a lead blower, I can get my hands on one.
Do you know a guy?
I know a guy.
You know a guy.
I see where you're going with that. Yeah, okay, a rookie quarterback. Maybe he'll beat the Vikings. That perked you up a little bit. It would perk me up, too. I was kind of half watching.
Boy, did he look young, too. I forgot how old he was.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looked like a high school kid.
He did look like a high school kid.
He was like a Division II or Division III guy in college, too, right?
I thought they said Division II.
Just goes to show you. Don't give up. You could make her, even if you're a D2 or a D3. I'm not sure what this means. Chipman Jesus texted in and said, the game is boring when they never show any highlights on Red Zone.
Oh, sure. Mm-hmm.
Red Zone, is that some kind of a channel that you guys look at?
Yeah, it's an NFL Network channel. If you have the package, you can watch. They basically just flip to whatever game has a team in the red zone.
Mm-hmm. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
neither team went in the red zone version.
Exactly. All right, more information on this Justin Jefferson injury. More like 6 weeks away from the team instead of 4. And more discussion all over the internet on trading folks, seeing how this appears to be a lost season. The Captain Deathrock's trade talks has dummied down a little bit, but Danielle Hunter, Harrison Smith, KJ Osborne, and this and that.
Well, I hope they don't trade Harrison Smith. I'd like to see him start and finish his career with the Vikings. Yeah.
So I'm doing a little bit of research on this Tyson guy, the quarterback that came in for the Bears.
Okay.
His father, Travis, was a 19-time world arm wrestling champion.
Oh, really?
That's pretty cool.
That's sweet.
F me running.
That's great.
19 times.
Yeah.
Like, are we talking world?
Yeah.
U.S.?
World arm wrestling champion.
God dang. What was the last name?
Badgent.
Badgent.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a hell of a deal. You got to be tough as nails to win one of those, let alone 19 of them. So their next opponent, like I said, was San Francisco. There was a little bit of a pregame confrontation between the 49ers players and Browns players before their game in Cleveland. A little pushing and shoving, this and that, some kissing, some experimenting. And then the Browns went out and beat them.
With a backup quarterback.
With a backup quarterback, he said.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was a fun game.
I tell you what, Cleveland's got a great defense.
All right.
So I've seen a few of their highlights this year defensively, and they are pretty tough.
Browns went out and beat them. The Lions won again. The New York Jets beat Philadelphia.
Yep, so no undefeated teams in the NFL now.
There's no undefeated teams. And tonight, on Monday Night Football, the Dallas Cowboys and the Los Angeles Chargers of Los Angeles. Enough with the NFC East. We've been bitching about this for, over a decade, Randy Shaver? It doesn't always have to be the NFC East. Can we play the strange sound that a fan was making during the Ravens-Titans broadcast?
Yeah.
Now listen to this. This is a kick return during this ball game yesterday, and listen for the sound.
Well, hold on one second. I got so much stuff here, I got to find out what it is.
Oh, that's okay. Tell me what you think it sounds like. I have a very definitive idea of what I think it sounds like.
All right, here we go.
Devin Duvernay's got the punter to beat. Devin Duvernay.
Did you catch that?
I just heard a lot of crowd noise.
In the background? Here, we'll do it again.
I didn't hear.
Devin Duvernay's got the punter to beat. Devin Duvernay.
Somebody
like a screeching sound.
It sounds
like a
seagull.
screeching sound. Yeah.
To me, it sounds like a dog's squeak toy.
Oh, sure.
Or a
little bit, yeah.
Or sex noises.
Oh, come on. Come on, Wapple.
That's what you sound like when you're having sex?
Oh,
no,
God.
Girls.
Girls?
You sound like a squeak toy.
You know if the girls are really going, or, they're really getting it?
Yeah, when you got them just inflated correctly. Is that what you're talking about?
You don't know nothing about women's sex noises.
I know more than you'd think.
You watch movies.
Oh, that's true.
Well, I know you've seen the movie. Didn't it happen again, Josh, or was that the best of it?
That's the best one.
Not the most pleasant sound there, but it sounded like they're having fun. To me, it sounded like you were, trying to get your dog to play with his squeak toy. What else happened? Oh, no, Josh. Jimmy Garoppolo leaves stadium in ambulance following back injury.
That's so good.
What do you know about that?
Well, I know he was injured in the game. That's about as far as I can go with it. Maybe he needs one of my famous back rubs. I don't know.
Yeah, I bet that would help.
Tyreek Hill gets penalized for doing backflip with someone's cell phone in his hand as a touchdown celebration. What am I saying here?
It was a cool backflip.
He gets in the end zone. Someone gives him their cellular device, and then he recorded himself doing a backflip. And since that is against the rules, he used a prop in his celebration He'll be fined, but what does he care? He has hundreds of millions of dollars.
He said it was worth it.
He's had a couple good celebrations. I remember earlier in the year, he scored a touchdown. He jumped up in the stands with the fans, and he was pretending to cheer like he was one of the fans. Yay!
Oh, that was him? Okay.
He's funny. Took somebody's cell phone. Okay, so that happened. Saturday Night Live had some fun with all this Taylor Swift hubbub. I don't know if you saw any of that or you cared.
I did not. I wish I would have now.
You got a big game coming up between the Philadelphia Eagles, who lead the NFC East, and the New York Jets, who were cursed by a warlock 1,000 years ago, and they can never experience joy. And if any Taylor Swift fans are watching, the Chiefs game was on Thursday. You just missed her.
Yeah. Hey, look, I want to say to Travis Kelce, from one Super Bowl champion to another, this is a way bigger deal than the Super Bowl, all right? You cannot mess this up.
Okay, enough. Let's go to our newest NFL sideline reporter, Kenny DeTulio. Kenny, what's the mood down there?
Devastated, Kurt. Taylor is nowhere to be seen.
Come on, you two. Why would you think that Taylor Swift would be at a Jets-Eagles game?
Because there was a rumor online she was coming to cheer on Travis Kelce's brother Jason. But so far, no sign of Blondie. I'm starting to wonder why I'm even here.
Because that's your job, Kenny. You are a football analyst. Well, thank you, Kenny. You have been the opposite of helpful.
They're going down that route, making Taylor Swift jokes.
Travis made a cameo at the very end of that. Had a couple of words.
Oh, boy, I'm sorry I missed that. Yeah. I bet he was just so smiling ear to ear. He's just so funny. The Kelce guys and their mother, they're just so cute.
God, I'm just so tired of them.
Oh,
man.
God, Randy Shaver.
Every freaking commercial.
It's relentless. It's
between
relentless.
him and Mahomes. I mean, even my wife turns to me yesterday during the Viking game and goes, "Can somebody else do a commercial other than Travis Kelce?"
Yep.
Oh, you're talking about Mahomes and Otto.
No, I'm talking
State
about
Farm
every commercial.
It doesn't matter, Wobble. We've had enough.
Oh, just too much.
I miss the Hy-Vee commercial when they're eating salsa together in two separate living rooms.
Exactly.
Oh, you like that one?
You don't like the one where they're like Patrick Mahomes, quarterback, Kansas City, Travis Kelce, tight end, and then Isaiah, meat manager, Hy-Vee.
Yeah.
You got to turn the TV off, Wobble.
Yeah, I had no idea what you were talking about there.
Take a little time to yourself once in a while, and just in the quiet. It'll help you out. If you like frightening, maybe even I should call it disturbing Halloween yard decorations, you should see what one Denver Broncos fan has set up in his front yard. Is this up on, what do we call it again, 93x.com?
It is.
It's a very scary recreation of the horror Broncos fans faced while at home watching their team lose 70-20 to the Miami Dolphins a few weeks ago. You got to see this on our website. There's a sign out front the yard that says Broncos Watch Party, okay? Skeletons play the part of Broncos fans. There's a TV that shows the 70-20 final score. One skeleton is seated in a comfortable recliner, but he's reeling in disgust at the sight of the horrifying final score. The skeleton is covering his eyes. It can't stand to watch anymore. Another skeleton Broncos fan is vomiting into a bucket after being sickened by the Broncos' performance.
And that was a lot of barf.
Mm-hmm. It looks like they ran some kind of a hose, and so the skeleton character is constantly vomiting into this bucket.
Oh, gosh.
It's very well done and very funny, and you should get a look at it. There's also headstones signifying the death of Russell Wilson's $165 million in guaranteed money, the death of Denver's playoffs hopes, the death of any semblance of a defense, and, of course, the death of relevancy. Very funny and very creative. Josh, have you considered, in your newfound love of Halloween yard decorations, have you considered things like running water to be used, or
I haven't gotten that high tech yet.
But
after I saw that, I did think, boy, I got to step it up a little bit. That was good.
What else could be done?
Some pyro.
Pyro would be where it's at.
Oh, that would be cool.
I saw. Did I send you that one? That I meant to send you, Ashley, one just for you. That they had an awesome light show. I think it was to System of a Down.
Yeah, you sent me that. That was sweet.
And it had all the pyro?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Fog machines, though. You've got that going.
Yeah, I've got fog machines.
Oh, that's
I'm not an amateur.
No.
It's not my first rodeo.
No, I've got the fog machines.
Oh, God. All right, we're going to talk a little bit this morning about nicknames in the world of sports. I got something here and then something a little bit later you might like. Is everyone aware of this? Cincinnati Bengals wide receiver Jamar Chase calls himself 7-Eleven because he's always open?
Yes.
Unfortunately, yes, I did know that.
That's douchey.
I didn't. No, I didn't.
He wears the bling.
Yeah, that's the next step, right, Josh? So now 7-Eleven was made aware of this, and they sent him a chain with their logo on it. He wore it on the field for the game yesterday that the Bengals played against somebody or another. And I guess he's been on kind of a hot streak since this 7-Eleven nickname took off. He didn't have any touchdowns in the first 4 games. He had 3 in a win over the Cardinals. Maybe that was last week. That set a franchise record for most receptions in a single game. So this is working for him. 7-Eleven. I'll get back to more nickname stuff later. Okay. That was new to me. It's interesting, moving on to college football, it's interesting how after Deion Sanders and his University of Colorado football team lost a couple of games, there's no longer 24-hour coverage of the team on ESPN, and the sightings of big celebrities walking through the gates at Colorado games has dwindled down to 0.
Seriously. It's like ex-reality stars and stuff.
And now last Friday, Deion's ball club really went ahead and whizzed one down their leg. They were playing Stanford. They blew a 29-0 halftime lead and lost in overtime.
How about that?
That's hilarious. And after the game, maybe something you can also see on our website, Smashley can tell me one way or another. ESPN, after the game was over, so there they go, they choke, they blow it in overtime. ESPN made sure to find all the sad bandwagon Colorado football fans in the stands and eventually zoomed in on a college kid in the stands who's crying while his girlfriend is consoling him.
That's awful. No, I didn't get that up, but I'll get that up right now.
This poor kid, just he couldn't hold it together. His college football team has him crying in public.
Wait, I went viral for what?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
What picture is a meme?
That sucks. Luckily, he kind of has his hands in his face, and maybe his classmates can't identify him.
Sure. But it's still pretty funny.
Try and hold it together. It's not like CM Punk just made his return to wrestling on AEW Dynamite or something. That I can understand. College football, kid. Some were joking around that maybe he bet all his rent money on the Buffaloes in that ball game, and they had a... Colorado State and Boise State played over the weekend. Boise State led 30-10 in the fourth quarter. Colorado State came back and tied the game on a last-second Hail Mary and then won the pig on the point extra.
That's pretty cool.
Wow. I don't know if you saw that mayhem.
Reason number 2,342 not to gamble on sports.
Now, I would bet that not too many of us, speaking of betting, I would bet that not too many of us were all that interested in last Friday night's college football game between Tulane and Memphis.
Correct.
Missed that one.
Yeah.
But it turned out to be a pretty cool experience, after all, for a couple reasons. Reasons number one, a Tulane player got caught on camera taking a squeege up against a wall.
That you can see on 93x.com.
That you can see.
Yeah.
If I'm trying to explain this properly, so, he's still technically inside the stadium, not on the field of play, but sort of up against the padding that lines the stands, if you know what I'm saying.
Sure.
Yeah.
The player's name is DJ Douglas, and at one point during the game, he was photographed standing in a corner, as they say here, Blair Witch style, and he appeared to be taking a squeege.
I mean, what else could he be doing in the corner, you know?
Is he in timeout?
I think some were trying to help him out by saying, well, maybe he was adjusting his gear and didn't want to. It looks an awful lot like he's hanging it.
Why don't they have a portable on the sidelines or in the blue tent? I guess I never understood why they don't have a setup for players like that.
Don't know. But it seemed like after the game, his coach was shown a picture of this, and his coach was not happy with it.
Well, sure, I wouldn't be happy with it. No.
There are policies, involved in Division I college football. If you got to take a whiz, you got to get the hell out and go to the locker room.
Most locker rooms are right by the tunnel. I mean, it would have taken them an extra 5 seconds to run in the locker room.
Well, Brad Ryder, they were in Memphis,
Didn't Oregon Ducks have a portable toilet?
I don't know. Maybe
I thought they did a couple years ago.
I think most teams do, but
yeah, Oregon Ducks collapsible sideline toilet.
Oregon Ducks.
Oops,
I like it.
That would have helped a buddy of mine. He admitted that he would just routinely pee his pants during games. When he had to go, he would just go.
Oh yeah,
on a football field.
Yeah,
he played high school football.
Yeah,
in his pants.
Yeah. We one time after the game, we got back to the locker room, and someone's like, "Oh, thank God, I got to pee so bad." He goes, "Well, don't you just go in your pants?" We're like, "What?
Go in your pants?"
He just thought that was he thought we all did it. We all looked at him like, "Are you kidding me?"
His poor mother washing his clothes. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he would just pee his pants during games.
Now, the second reason this game turned out semi-interesting is a Memphis defensive lineman was ejected for punching a Tulane player in the balls and brajol. So this turned out to be something.
Yeah.
ESPN knew what they were doing.
I mean, not to sleep on Tulane Memphis next year.
There was some talk over the weekend that the Navy versus Charlotte college football matchup was the most boring college football game of the year, maybe of all time. Both teams combined for 20 punts.
Jeez.
What was the final score?
I don't have it in front of me, but Navy beat Charlotte. They got it cooking a little bit in the second half, Brad Ryder. In the first half, neither team scored, fumbled, or threw an interception. They traded punts for the first 30 minutes of the game. 12 total punts.
God.
That was it.
Gosh, that's like an Iowa game, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The second half, I guess, was way more exciting. It featured 2 touchdowns, a fumble, and 2 interception, but also 8 more punts for a total of 20.
I just looked it up. 14-0 was the final.
There you go.
And the over-under, Randy, by the way, for this week's Iowa-Minnesota game is 32.5.
I think I'd take the under.
Yeah.
Absolutely. After watching Iowa play this weekend, I would definitely take the under.
Yeah, that'll come up Saturday afternoon.
Because they don't care about points. They're not trying to throw the ball. They've got a punter. I forget who they were playing this weekend.
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. They've got a punter. Iowa does. The guy averages like 65 yards a punt. He's amazing. And they flip the field every possession. And then they just let their defense kick the snot out of you.
And they never throw the ball? Almost never?
They very rarely do they throw the ball enough to make it. They don't care. It's boring. They absolutely do not care.
One of your most important recruits is going to be your punter if your offense isn't very good. So,
well, isn't Iowa having a good season?
Well, they are, but because of their defense.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. I mean, whatever it takes to win. Now, the last time we saw the Golden Gophers play, I would imagine they're not going to be throwing the ball a hell of a lot for a while. So maybe there should be an over-under. Forget points. Have a little more. Do something a little more different. How about over-under on total forward passes thrown between both ball clubs?
It looks like Iowa has a brand new shirt that came out. It says, punting is winning.
That's right.
Is that right? That's good.
Punting is winning.
Now, here's a question from a listener. Is there room on the Lions bandwagon? Yeah, I think there's still a few spots left.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, the Texas Rangers. They're not scared of Justin Verlander or all his career achievements or how hot his wife is or what kind of mess he made on her.
Oh, my God.
The Rangers went ahead and beat Verlander in Game 1 of the American League Championship Series last night. And, damn, they shut out that Houston Astros lineup.
They did. Amazing.
Shut them smooth out, 2-0. The last time these two teams met, because, they are division foes.
Right.
The last time these two teams met back in early September, the Astros scored 39 runs during a 3-game sweep of the Rangers. Come out and shut them out last night. Jordan Montgomery, the starter for Texas,
Yep.
Very good.
They picked him up in a trade with the Cardinals this year, and he's made a big difference in their rotation.
Very good. Verlander,
he was fine.
Gave up one run in the top of the second on a bloop single, another run in the fifth on a massive solo dong. Anyone see the slow motion reaction of Justin Verlander when that ball hit the bat? And was that funny or what, Randy Shaver?
Exactly.
If you're watching the game last night.
It was a curveball he didn't mean to throw in the zone, and it just got pummeled.
This kid, Leody Taveras, for the Rangers, you could tell as soon as he made contact, that friggin' ball was going to leave the ballpark.
Oh, yeah.
And Fox or whoever covered last night's game had a slow motion reaction of Verlander, and it was just like that kid from that Christmas movie. He goes, "Oh, fudge." It was beautiful. Perfect. Now, the Rangers' bullpen, which was a mess all season, they've made it work so far in the playoffs. And there was a great play in center field late in the game that produced a double play. Evan Carter, young kid in left field for the Rangers.
He's a kid we talked about last week.
You brought him up last week.
Yeah.
Made a great catch up against the fence, long drive from Alex Bregman, and they doubled up Altuve because he didn't retouch second base on his way back to first, if you're following baseball terminology.
Yeah.
Game 2, 3:30 this afternoon on Fox. The Rangers are going with Nathan Eovaldi, Framber Valdez for Houston, and What's-His-Nuts is on the roster for the Rangers. The guy with the different colored eyes. What the hell's his name again?
Max Scherzer.
Max Scherzer. See if he becomes a factor. NLCS, the National League Championship Series. Game 1 tonight, Arizona at Philadelphia. So, back to these nicknames now. I told you we get back to nicknames. Oh, wow. You guys all remember that Dylan Brooks moron from his days with the Memphis Grizzlies?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
He portrays himself to be some kind of an NBA enforcer type character. He thinks he's a tough guy. He talks a lot of trash. 9 times out of 10, it blows up in his face because he's not nearly as good a player as he thinks he is. I heard this recently. He's really trying hard to get the media to call him Dylan the Villain.
It's my name. My name is Dylan the Villain.
He wants a nickname.
Because there's nothing cooler than creating your own nickname, right?
Uh-huh. Like in Seinfeld when George tried to go by T-Bone.
Yeah.
I don't remember that. T-Bone.
Yeah, he tried to get people to start calling him T-Bone.
I have a friend named Greg who years ago said, "You know what, boys? From now on, I'd like you to call me Gregor." And we said, no. None of us are going to call you Gregor.
Dana Carvey did a bit back in the day where he's talking about Sting. You know, his real name is Gordy, and he said there was a point in his life where he had to tell his friends, "Oh, by the way, call me Sting."
Who was this?
Dana Carvey did a bit about Sting.
Oh, sure. Oh, you mean the singer?
Yeah.
Oh, I was picturing.
Yeah, not the wrestler.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Sorry.
That's true. How do you get some of those? How do you get that started? Or Flea?
Yeah.
We were talking about Flea earlier today. No, I'm Flea.
I actually, if you don't mind me dorking out for a minute, I do know why the musician Sting was called Sting, and it stuck, obviously. Does anyone know this one?
No.
He had a black and yellow striped sweater that he wore on stage when they were just starting out. And so, like a bumblebee, Sting.
Flea. Yeah, it was like a jumper type thing.
Oh, was it a
Or
jumpsuit?
Something like that. More
I thought
than
it was a sweater. All right, so Dylan Brooks, Dylan the Villain, he wants to push this on folks.
I read that he got ejected 5 minutes into his first preseason game.
Yes, he did, Red Ryder. Tell him why.
Yes.
I don't know why.
Oh, because he punched an opponent in the balls.
Oh,
he's done this before, and the NBA, for whatever reason, is the center of man-on-man genital mutilation. That's right. In the last few, what's his name? The guy I hate from Golden State.
Draymond Green.
Draymond Green got it going 6, 7, 8 years ago. Now, when you're upset with your opponent, you do something to their gear. You kick them, you punch them, you bite on it a little bit, whatever.
You bite on it.
But you're right, Brad Ryder. This Dylan the Villain now plays for the Houston Rockets. Regular season hasn't even started yet, and he's already punched an opponent in the balls. 5 minutes into his first preseason game. This dude is a child.
Yeah, Dylan the Douche sounds like a more appropriate nickname.
After the game, he denied any intent in hitting another. Come on, man.
Oh, it looked like he went right for it.
I'm sure.
Everything's on video
Yeah, that was
now.
on
You
purpose.
can't deny stuff like that anymore.
He says the refs don't know him as a person or some oddball
Does
crap.
it matter?
I've heard him go ahead with that song and dance, but
refs don't know him as a person.
he's a bad actor, Dylan Brooks.
He is.
He's a bad actor. He wants this bad boy image. He gets off on being the new Dennis Rodman or something, and then he tries to put some nonsense spin about what obviously and simply is a grown man punching another in the urethra. But here's the deal. Here are some other NBA nicknames. Pardon me, I should say NBA players who tried to promote their own nickname. I would be so embarrassed if I was doing that.
That's so cringy.
You can't just say, oh, hey, everybody, from now on, my nickname is this. That's just, what? I don't understand the mentality. And Cubby, why would Kevin Durant think he needs a nickname?
I don't know.
He's the Durantula.
That's an awesome nickname.
It's one of the greatest nicknames in sports history. But he wasn't happy with it. These guys are all warped. Like their ego doesn't allow them to think clearly. Someone has dumped the Durantula on you and you're going to somehow deny that? You got to be crazy.
Well, yeah, and his was worse.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't even, like, you wouldn't even, it doesn't compare.
No.
It's not like you go, oh, that is a pretty good one.
And I mean, we all love a great nickname, right? Love it. Mm-hmm. A few years ago, Kevin Durant started telling people, no, my nickname is The Servant.
that didn't really take, did it?
Well, and they were also calling him the Slim Reaper, which I think is pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Cool.
Slim Reaper is just as cool
Scott
as...
Van Pelt from ESPN came up with that one for him, and apparently he didn't like it, so he was making noise that he didn't like that. I love that.
Again, it's the arrogance. If it's not their own idea, it's not good enough. Slim Reaper is every bit as cool as Durant. So here's what Durant said. Some member of the media must have said, okay, why should we call you the Servant? Because I like to serve everybody, my teammates and the fans.
It's lame.
Okay.
Dude.
Well, he said he even serves ushers at games. I don't know what he meant by that.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
Austin Rivers, who I did like Austin Rivers when he played here for the Timberwolves. I did. I'll give him a break here. He was fresh out of high school. Before he went to Duke, he told the media to call him Sub-Zero.
It's pretty sweet.
Because he said, at Duke, I'm going to wear jersey number 0, and my moves freeze people, and I got ice in my veins.
Come on!
You're doing it all wrong, man. Oh, man. In the end, he didn't wear jersey number 0, and his moves weren't that great, but so that didn't go anywhere. I like this one. I don't know what this means. Anthony Edwards gave him the nickname Macaroni Tony, and it stuck. There's no explanation behind it.
Austin, like pasta?
Yeah, that's got to be it. Because Austin Rivers, the name Tony, where does that come from? Maybe, yeah, he wiped out a plate of macaroni on the team bus, and so that's cute because it really doesn't mean anything. And Rivers has said, I don't like it, but it is what it is. Macaroni Tony. Paul George wanted to be called PG-13. These were his ideas. And playoff P.
PG-13 is so corny.
It is.
I actually like it. It's kind of fun. I mean, it's silly.
You know that's why he wanted to wear number 13 too.
Well, yeah.
You know,
he upped and said it. He said my new jersey number with the Clippers or whoever is going to be 13. So I want everyone to call me PG-13, which is catchy. But I mean, where is it in the article here? It says, people made fun of the PG-13 nickname because a PG-13 is defined by being less intense and less grown up than an R-rated movie. It's softer than so they gave him hell for that. The playoff P was the worst because he often wets the bed in well, maybe P if you want to go that way, but you know what I mean. He often chokes in the playoffs. You're not a playoff guy. You got to earn that. Right. I'm having too much fun with this.
My older son, he went to school in 6th grade with a kid that everyone called King Money. He gave himself that nickname.
King Money. He gave himself the nickname. Okay, you're a grade school kid. I'll give you a break on
King
that.
Money.
Dwayne Wade seems like a smart and reasonable guy. But yet, at one point or another, he wanted people to call him WOW. W-O-W, which stood for Way of Wade. This is insanity.
Yeah.
I like this.
Do you think it's players doing this, or do you think it's their agents, or it's just
marketing? I've been around enough players. I think it's players.
It's players. A lot of these guys are cracked,
A lot of
Randy.
these guys they have egos on top of their egos.
Oh, yeah. I love that LeBron James stepped up and said, that's corny, and just shut it down immediately. The Way of Wade. Wow.
They have agents for their egos.
They do. And finally here, not to pick on a guy who's checked out, but this article, I forgot where it came from. Yardbarker.
But I will.
Well, it ain't me, Randy Shaver. It's Yardbarker.
Okay.
Coney Bryant. That's not a person. Kobe Bryant asked the media to call him Vino because he gets better with age.
Kobe.
Again, I just can't imagine telling my friends or telling the media or whatever, hey, I got a new nickname for myself. My friends would just throw garbage at me. What are you talking about? You came up with a nickname for yourself. That's so strange. That was fun. Sorry I was yelling.
See if Andrew DePaulo wants to come up with a nickname for himself.
Yeah, we should.
Well, who came up with Depot?
I don't know.
I think he said it was his college teammates or something.
Is that who it was?
Mm-hmm. Which is great. That's great. Well, yeah, that's a good idea, Brad Ryder. Let's ask Andrew DePaula on the spot. Well, are we talking him to this week, Thursday?
Thursday, I think. Is that the plan, Dan?
Yeah.
We're heading now. We got that topless beer party out in Wisconsin.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll talk to Andrew on Thursday. He's a funny guy. I bet he could come up with something. The bagel or something like that. Bagel nuts.
The bagel.
I was always mad at my buddies for not giving me some type of nickname. I'm like, I got a girl's name. I get me fun of it all the time. Can't you guys call me Bonesaw or something like that? Cool, you know?
Bonesaw. You never had one?
No.
I had a few.
See, if you were around KG at all, it was just the same nickname for everybody.
Base
or Money.
Well, Base was just for me.
Yeah.
Brad, don't tell me he was calling other people Base, because I know that wouldn't be true. Isn't this wonderful news that Mary Lou Retton has made a remarkable progress? How do you say it? She's made remarkable...
Yes.
Cubby, you take it.
Remarkable progress. Yeah, that is awesome. Boy, it didn't look good at first, did it?
No.
They were talking about like this rare form of pneumonia, and the family seemed to be almost saying goodbye, and what a turnaround.
That's great. All-time great Olympic gymnast, Mary Lou Retton. She's feeling much, much better in the hospital with that pneumonia. She was even on a breathing apparatus. They've dummied that down. That's wonderful. No one needs to be checking out at 55.
No, I was going to say, she's my age.
Yeah. You guys ever meet up at a high-caliber sporting event?
Nope. No. Never met her.
Should have made something up. All right. We're going to pull the plug here shortly, but Wapple, you and I should go see this movie on opening night. I'll buy. I promise you I'll buy every damn thing. You want to have dinner beforehand? I'll buy. You want to get some popcorn? You want to get some Swedish fish at the movie? It's on me.
More of a Skittles guy.
Whatever, man. Whatever. As long as you don't tell anybody how hard I cry my effing eyes out. A trailer has been released for a movie called The Iron Claw, the story of the Von Erich wrestling family. By the way, there are people texting in saying there's no way that Brad Ryder's only 55 years old. But anyway.
Come on.
The story of the Von Erich wrestling family. Even if you don't know wrestling, you should. I hope it's really well done, and I think it will be. What's his name? That cute kid that's in all the movies now, and I like him.
Zac Efron.
Zac Efron is in the movie. He plays Kevin Von Erich. Yes, Wapple?
Do you know who plays Lance Von Erich?
No.
MJF.
Shut your gorgeous, provocative mouth.
Yep, Maxwell Jacob Friedman is playing Lance. Yep.
Wow.
Zac Efron got huge
he
for
did.
this role.
Yeah, he got ripped.
Jeremy Allen White, too.
Who?
Jeremy Allen White.
Who the hell is that?
He's in a very popular show right now called The Bear. He was also on Shameless.
Never saw it. Never saw it. Yeah, Zac Efron. I've really started to like him. I told you he was in that Vietnam movie I just saw recently. It was okay, but he's good. He's just good at what he does.
Yeah.
If you don't know the story of the Von Erich family, it is one of the greatest and saddest stories in the history of sports. And I cannot wait. When does this come out? I was so excited, Josh, I didn't even see what time it came out.
Was it this year? End of this year? I couldn't remember if it was early next year.
December 22nd.
Of this year. Will you go with me, Wapple? Will you go on opening night?
I would absolutely love to.
Dude, we're going to get full of beer and food and go see the movie.
We're going to walk out hand in hand crying.
The usher's like, are you okay? Do I need to call a ride for you or something?
We'll be chanting, MJF, MJF.
Then we're going to go out on the town and try to land some honeys. But that is great. A story of the Von Erich family. I mean, these guys were nothing short of friggin' rock stars for a while. Absolutely nothing short of rock stars. You guys even familiar with it, Randy and Brad? And that's okay if you're not.
I know the name. I don't know them.
I don't know the story, but I know the wrestling name. Yeah.
I will be crying uncontrollably. So there you go. All right, gentlemen.
But you do that anytime you're hanging out with Wapple.
Well, usually because, my God, he's just a depressing person to be around.
Just rubs off on you.
He's emotional at times.
I gotta be home at 6:15 because my landlord wants me there, and I gotta. She told me I'm not allowed to eat hot dogs, so I guess I'll have a salad. She doesn't like my hair and doesn't like Josh and Nick and doesn't like. She's an angry lady, and she's turned him into a sad person. And I'm going to tell her all about it this weekend at our Topless Wisconsin party. It'll be hard to concentrate with her being topless, but
She's joining.
we're going to have a hell of a time, Wapple, at that Von Erich movie opening. All right, guys, we'll talk to you tomorrow and Wednesday.
Okay.
Sounds good.
The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show.
Our experienced and certified technicians at Standard Heating have been trusted to keep our fellow Minnesotans comfortable and confident for over 90 years. We're ready to do the same for you, providing comfort you deserve since 1930.
And now is a great time to join their team. Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is currently hiring experienced and entry-level HVAC technicians, dedicated to improving the work-life balance of their employees by providing benefits that include parental leave and 401k match. Apply today at standardheating.com.
Millions of listeners and thousands of 5-star reviews rave about the hit podcast series In the Red Clay, the unbelievable story of Billy Sunday Burt, the most dangerous man in Georgia history.
He was a whiskey man, bank robber, hitman. He was a murderer. He's also my father.
Seasons 1 and 2 are available to binge right now, and bonus episodes are coming soon. Imperative Entertainment presents In the Red Clay. Get the podcast wherever you listen.
Dr. P. Jesus.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Yeah, here we are. Back on the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. 8:25. Been all right so far. Paying us a visit right here, right now, live in studio is a very helpful and knowledgeable old-timer. He's a real doctor, Dr. P. Jesus. Text us if you have a question about your general health. The phone number, well, I guess the text number, 651-989-9393. Hello, Dr. P.
Hello.
What's up, brother?
I'm an old-timer.
Yep. Many years. You've been around helping folks out?
You know, it actually, somebody asked me this the other day. It has been, I believe, almost 7 years now.
Are you serious?
Yes. Whoa. It was 2016. So actually, I need to look up what anniversary
7 years you've been coming on this program.
Yes. Yeah, I haven't been a doctor for 7 years.
You've been a doctor longer than that.
Yeah, you've been how many years as a professional doctor?
25, I guess.
25.
Holy cow.
You've seen everything.
I have. You know, I have 3 important things to bring up really quick, though.
All right.
I don't want to take away time from questions.
Knock yourself out.
1, From now on, I want to be known as Dr. P. Dawg. D-A-W-G.
Oh, make sure we spell it D-A-W-G.
Oh, yeah.
That's a cool way to do it.
For sure.
Nasty.
For sure. The second thing is, Nick, I was very disappointed to learn about your wedding from a commercial. I thought we were buddies.
It's not that big of a deal. Neither one of us are taking it all that seriously.
Okay.
So,
but you got a nice ring.
Yeah, we got hitched a while back. Maybe I should have told you about that. I'm sorry.
It's okay. And the third thing is Josh is back in the pickleball game officially.
He's got a new hat and everything.
He's got a new hat. He's got a new elbow.
New elbow?
Yep. Well, his elbow was hurting him, I think, after our winter adventures playing. So
we played too much during the winter. Yeah,
we did.
Yes. You got pickleball elbow.
Yeah, so we were over at the new Mega in Minnetonka, and we were whipping some young people's butts.
You know what? It was I've never played better. Never once in my entire life. It was, and I don't know how we beat the people we did because they're very good.
That's true.
This was your greatest athletic achievement.
I've since retired. Mega Pickleball they're hanging my jersey in the rafters.
Why not just shut it down?
That's right. They're gonna retire it.
Well, good for you guys. You've been partnering up and whipping young people's asses.
Yes.
Well, we did this last time.
We did.
Hard to believe.
But Rick Gray is the owner over there, and he was super nice to me, which I love. I love when people are nice to me.
Isn't that something?
You guys
when people
hit it off.
Yeah. We did. We really did. He's
I couldn't get a word in edgewise.
He's incredibly connected into the pickleball community. And
Josh kind of likes it when people are difficult with him. He likes it. So, Rick Gray, you said?
Rick Gray, yeah, great time.
Right.
He also owns the one I think it's in Chanhassen.
Yeah, that's the best place we've been, I think.
Yeah, it's fun.
So far.
Good times.
So we'll keep an eye on pickleball.com for a feature on the two of you.
Yep, on Dr. P. Dawg and Josh.
Dr. P. Dawg.
Sometimes overreacts, Jesus has texted in as we start getting to the medical questions for you, Dr. P. Your expertise, right behind pickleball. He has an itching mole on his back. It doesn't have irregular edges, but how worried should I be? Do I need to rush to the doctor?
Itchy mole, irregular edges.
Does not have irregular edges.
Does not have irregular edges.
Well, let's see. Any skin lesion, there's, we can just go over it really quickly. There's the A, B, C, D's, maybe E's of skin lesions. So if you see a mole or something like that, if it has asymmetry, so if it's round or oval is usually good. If it sort of looks like the United States, that's not good.
Okay.
If there's border irregularity, it's like kind of curling around, and that seems like what he's talking about, that's concerning. Color variation, so parts of it are really dark, parts of it are lighter brown.
That's something you worry about?
You worry about all these things, that I'm bringing up. Or if it's just really, really dark, that's also concerning. If it's bigger than the head of, the size of a pencil eraser, so whatever that is. Probably like half a centimeter.
You need to get those things hauled out of there, very likely.
Yeah, so if it's itchy, that's honestly usually something probably not concerning. It's probably a thing,
unrelated.
Probably a thing called a seborrheic keratosis, which is the example that most of us have seen is like Grandpa's back, where he has those gnarly kind of barnacle things that can get quite large, but they start small.
Grandpa's back.
I mean, have you seen that before?
Yeah.
No. Yeah. I mean,
No.
it's oh really? It can be pretty impressive. Where people it looks like these sort of warty growths all over people's back.
No, I haven't seen that yet. I've heard of grandma's teeth. That's a bowling term. Grandpa's back.
But yeah, I mean, it's never a bad idea to have something looked at early if you're noticing symptoms or if it looks like it's changed.
It's growing?
Yeah, if it's growing, that's the final thing.
That's a concern as well.
So now, one thing is, I'm not sure how well he could see it if it's on his back. I mean, these days we can take pictures with our phone and kind of monitor it over time. But yeah, it's always better to get in and have it looked at early.
As soon as you notice it.
Yeah, because...
Yeah, and good luck getting a dermatologist appointment.
That's true. But although, I mean, truly in primary care, we're well equipped to look at something and say, okay,
sure,
that should be benign.
Your regular doctor can sometimes make the...
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We can also do remove it with a shave biopsy or a true excision with a scalpel. But
anybody here on the panel, are you moly?
No, I had one that I removed on my own, and I got some crap for it. from the doctor.
Of the removed on your own?
I did almost bleed to death.
Josh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty brave.
Well, I went there and they said we can, like you said, shave it off or freeze it. And I'm like, well, do whatever you think. So they froze it and nothing happened. So I'm like, I got a razor here. I'll just shave it off.
You used just a
I
straight.
look like the movie Carrie. There was so much blood.
You just used a little razor,
Yeah,
like.
it's a regular like razor you'd shave your face.
Oh
with.
yeah, I mean, I remember how badly warts bled when I was a kid. When I would try to tear those off myself.
Yeah.
Both of my folks have had cancerous, skin lesion or whatever, moles
Sure.
removed. My mom had one removed from her face, and they had to take some extra skin from like around her ear
Oh,
to
do a
like
skin graft.
to fill it in. It was
Yeah. Oh,
gnarly.
really?
She looked like Frankenstein with
Yeah.
all like the ear stitches and stuff.
Yeah, that's why it's good to get in early.
Well, yeah.
Because the smaller it is, the less tissue has to be removed to get rid of any cancer. So,
Good Lord.
so again, it's a good idea to, if you notice something and it's different, get it looked at soon.
Yeah, that's good advice.
Dr. P Dog, this person wants to know.
Dr. P Dog. It take me a while to get used to that.
I retract. We don't have to.
Oh, you don't want to do that?
I like it.
Okay, no.
I just got in the habit.
Okay, let's go with
I
it.
retract, he says.
Let's go with it.
Now that you've heard it, you don't like it. Maybe it's just my delivery. Is that possible?
Try a different delivery.
That's the only one I've got.
Okay.
Dr. P Dog.
No, I like that. Yeah.
I've had a non-painful mark on my special purpose for about a week. He's talking about his penis.
Okay.
It's not getting worse, but it's not getting better. At first, I thought it was just the world's weirdest placed pimple. Any idea what's going on there?
A non-painful mark. Okay, for 1 week. Boy, if he thought it was a pimple. I mean, it's so hard to say without seeing it, obviously.
Yeah, send the picture, man.
Yeah. I mean, you can literally get little pimples on the penis, but usually those do hurt a tiny bit. That's what I'm thinking. There's a thing called molluscum contagiosum, which is actually a pretty common. It's technically not a sexually transmitted disease because it can be transmitted just from skin-to-skin contact, and even kids can get these things. It's like a little raised bump with like a little umbilicus, sort of like a belly button in it, and they're very small. They're maybe a sixth the size of the head of a pencil eraser. So. But that
would take up a lot of real estate for me.
So that's something that can be there and not have symptoms. But yeah, it's really hard to say without obviously seeing what it looks like. If it's something that doesn't go away, then I mean it's good to get it looked at. Things like herpes hurt. Syphilis doesn't hurt, but it causes things that look horrifying. So you wouldn't want to be looking at that and not going to the doctor. I'm just trying to think of the other things. But yeah, molluscum contagiosum is it's a viral thing. And
Is there any chance you could be a bruise?
I mean, it could be. Yeah.
Are you using that thing up and down? This listener who texted in about a mark on his dong skin.
You can have a raised bruise.
A hematoma is essentially a collection of blood under the skin that would be.
I bruised my dong once.
Yeah, but it hurt though, right? I mean, that's
hell yeah, it hurt.
So yeah, non-painful. I wouldn't think would be a bruise. So
I had a dong bruise, Cubby. Yeah,
I don't envy that.
Now, Dr. P. Jesus is in studio with the Half-Fast Morning Show, answering our listeners' health questions. 651-989-9393. I've got a really interesting text here about a parasite. What do you know about parasites?
I mean, a fair amount. It depends. Is it a skin or
I'll
intestinal?
tell you. I don't know what to make of this. I've never heard anything like this in my life. This is from Faded and X-Rated Jesus. He says his wife for over a year now has been extracting what we think is some type of parasite.
Oh, man.
She has found it in her stool. She has found it in her pee and mucus.
Oh.
Now, the text is a little broken up here. Maybe he's driving, which would not be a good idea. But he leads me to believe here that her doctors don't believe her. Her hair is falling out. She's losing a ton of weight and other things. It even pushes out of her skin. And when he says it, I believe he's referencing this parasite.
And did he say what it looked like? Did he say a little worm? Or?
No, there's nothing in here about what it looked like. But, I mean, what the hell is going on here? That sounds like a horror movie. Or someone smoking meth rocks and seeing things. I don't know, dude. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I cannot think of a parasite that would do all of those things. That would be in the stool, be in the urine, come out of the skin.
Out of the skin?
There are parasites that can do some of those things.
Is there a parasite that can crawl out of my skin?
There is a little, like a larva of a worm that can get. We don't run into these things too often in the
Josh,
U.S.
get that razor ready.
Oh man,
no kidding.
I saved it.
Yeah.
And there's a fly that can bite people and implant their eggs under your skin.
Oh yeah.
Again, not something you run into in Minnesota very often.
Okay. Is that one of the wildest things you've ever heard right there?
You know, I have had a few people over the years who would bring in stool samples and urine samples and things they had pulled out of their skin, and we would send it to the lab. They would look at it under a microscope, and we would not see parasites. And
really,
so it's. You don't want to not believe someone, but if you look at samples of these things and you don't see it, then it starts to become something where people can truly believe that they have a parasite, but that we don't find it.
Wow.
And can become kind of take over their thoughts and their life. Again, not saying that's going on here, but it
They can take over the brain. You're saying.
Right.
That's creepy.
Are you serious? I mean, I've heard about that in insects.
Well, no. There are parasites again that can end up in your brain, but they're not also in your stool and your urine.
Oh, that's what you mean by take over your brain.
Right, take over your thoughts.
Your
is what
thoughts.
I mean. Sorry.
Yes.
Sorry. I didn't make that clear.
No, I knew what you meant.
So if there's no objective evidence of it, and I've even had people bring in some samples of things, and you're like, well, yeah, I mean, that could be a worm in their stool or their whatever, urine.
Man, I don't know what would be worse, to actually have bugs jumping around out of my stool and out of my skin, or believing that it's there and it really isn't. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. But it's it can be very frustrating for people if they feel like they're not believed.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, seeing somebody who, essentially looking for objective evidence of is there truly some sort of parasite in your stool? A urine parasite, again, I can't think of really anything. Skin
maybe
parasite.
I'll get
Should she call like a pest removal company?
maybe. Yeah, what are those guys called?
Like Adams or something
right.
like that?
I mean, they've got vans driving around.
Maybe I'll get some more information here for you, and we can deal with it again in a future visit by Dr. P. But that is one hell of a deal. I've never heard anything like that. And now that you have successfully done everything you can on the air for that listener, now you should say, Dr. P. Dawg out.
Dr. P. Dawg out.
And we move on to the next one.
Nice.
Right. Are you starting to get used to this new image?
Yeah, it's good. It's a whole new persona for me.
Cool.
Yeah, you do seem cooler.
Really?
And where did those gold chains come from? You didn't walk in with those.
Yeah, I know. Huh? It's kind of convenient.
And who is this posse out in the waiting room behind you? Oh, my goodness.
Vintage video. And you've got hydraulics on your hoopty now? Vintage video game collector Jesus said, ask the doc, should I be worried about internal bleeding? I fell over a week ago, and he showed me a picture. He's got a really big bruise on his tricep, and he's just concerned that, it's still there after a week, and it's pretty gnarly looking.
He fell over.
Internal bleeding. That doesn't sound pleasant for anybody.
Yeah. You worry more about sort of life-threatening internal bleeding if it's intra-abdominal, just because there's a lot of room for things to bleed.
Yikes.
And you can't see that. If you get bruising or a hematoma, which again is basically blood leaking out of blood vessels, whether it's a bruise or a collection of blood, which is the hematoma. If it's in a muscle or an area that's confined by connective tissue, which our muscles are, you're nearly not going to bleed to the extent that you're going to have trouble with blood loss.
Yeah,
you can have enough. Yeah, okay. So I'm seeing a picture of the bruise, but it will. And this is a really good example, actually, because it's in a muscle group that's defined by a connective tissue. It has very regular borders. It looks like a certain shape. But
almost like it shapes itself to the muscle.
Yeah, basically, it kind of outlines it.
Sure.
If you do get enough bleeding or tissue damage in a muscle, you can develop pressure in there that can cause problems. So if it's incredibly painful, if you're getting numbness, tingling, those are the kind of things that need to be looked at quickly. It's a thing called compartment syndrome. I've seen it most often with the lower leg, and actually I've seen this at least twice where people were getting their boats out for the winter and they would get their legs stuck between the boat and the dock, and it could even be just for a moment, really, but a crush injury to the muscle. So he's probably not going to bleed out if he's already a week into it. Is that what we said? Something like that.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Yeah, it looks like a resolving bruise. I mean, it'll turn all sorts of colors as the hemoglobin in the blood breaks down. It turns yellow, purple.
There you go.
So I think he's okay.
That's good to know. Now we got time for maybe one more before we got to take a break here with Dr. P. A bump on the tongue is something a listener is concerned about. For 2 months, I've had a round bump on the tip of my tongue. No pain or irritation. It's the same color as my tongue. What would cause such a thing?
I thought maybe for a second they were talking about, have you guys ever had that happen where you, like a taste bud gets swollen? It's almost like you have like a small little bump on your tongue and it's so painful.
Okay. I never knew that was a taste bud. I thought it was just some kind of a canker sore. But sure, I've had those sore as hell little bumps on my tongue.
It's the worst because you just want to like bite it off. Just ouch.
Don't be biting nothing off.
Don't be biting that off.
No.
It is. Yeah, I mean, you can get sort of swelling of a taste bud. Canker sores are not a swelling, but an erosion where it's an ulcer.
I always just blame North Metro girls whenever I had one. The Blaine ladies.
And it's been 2 months.
Andover.
Yeah.
Coon Rapids.
Specifically.
Yeah.
Things that, I'm just trying to think how to say this. So things that hurt, usually we worry about a little less when it comes to this sort of thing. Because, it's some kind of inflammation, irritated thing, and it'll go away. If it doesn't hurt and there's no explanation for it and it's not going away, it's usually a good idea to get it looked at. There are little...
cool.
thing called mucoceles, which is essentially like a salivary gland type thing where it just gets almost like a little pearly looking thing in the mouth. Not usually right on the tongue, but under the tongue or on the gums. But every time you go to the dentist, one of the things they do is they're looking for signs of cancer, and painless growths that don't have a good explanation can be that. I know. Every time I go, they look at the side of my tongues and they say, "Do you bite your tongue?" And I think when I sleep, I do, because I have these things called bite fibromas, which are essentially benign, almost like scar tissue on the side of my tongue from all my anxiety about worrying about the show. I think probably.
Wait. Dr. P. Dawg, he doesn't worry about anything, though, does he?
Oh, that's right. That other guy did.
Yeah, he's worried about nothing.
Dr. P. Dawg's not going to have bite fibromas.
Well, that's good advice, though.
But yeah, so it's, and depending on your history, do you smoke? Do you drink too much? Things that would increase the risk of...
Oral sex? Right? Don't we hear that?
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oral sex can raise your
absolutely. Yes. Yeah. No, I mean, HPV. So it's never a bad idea to have it looked at.
It's real simple, too, and I like where you went with that, where if it, not that this should be etched in stone, but I think it's good advice, if it hurts, that's usually, as you said, something irritated. If it doesn't hurt at all and there's no explanation behind it, then go get a look-see.
That's kind of a universal bit of advice, whether it's on your testicular exam, whether it's in a breast, whether it's in your mouth.
Yeah.
It's just painless growths that don't have an explanation pretty much always need to be evaluated.
Wapple's kind of just a big painless growth.
He creates some pain around here.
He does it. Pain in the ass.
Emotional pain. Real quick, before we go to break, Drillin' and Phil and Jesus checked in about something Wapple said earlier about, we played, were you listening to sports at all with Shaver?
A little bit.
Did you hear the lady that sounded like a seagull at the football game?
I did. I thought it sounded like a dog squeaky toy.
And
sure.
Wapple was saying he thought it sounded like sex noises.
Yes.
So since the doctor's here, before we go, Wapple, will you imitate those sex noises so the doctor can make a diagnosis live and radio? You're talking to Dr. P. Dawg here, Wapple.
Are you going to do it?
I hope he doesn't.
No, I'm not going to do
Oh,
it.
okay.
What? You're not gonna, okay, well, then we'll never know.
Josh, I thought your insight was right, that it probably meant that the partner was underinflated or something.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. He's having sex with a blow-up doll.
Dr. P. Jesus.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Yeah, that was really bad.
Yeah, this is rough.
We're here with Dr. James Parnell on the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. You might recognize him by the name of Dr. P. Jesus or Dr. P. Dawg.
Word.
His gimmick is giving professional advice on health issues of our very appreciative listening audience. I think your pickleball partner, Cubby, has one for you over here, Dr.
Excellent.
P.
Yeah, we got a few, a lot of penis ones coming in.
Oh, yeah?
There's a lot of penises out there in the audience.
And a lot of them have problems.
Does seem like it, doesn't it?
All right, so here's one. This person, 23, only had one partner, sexual partner.
Oh.
But there are, at random times, maybe every 2 months, the person goes to urinate and a little bit of blood comes out before.
What?
He said there's a pause as the tank switched there, and he thinks he's dying.
Oh, that is very concerning.
He said, I know that's not a ton to go on, but thanks for anything you can do for me.
A bleeding penis.
Yeah, that's never good. And he said it's incredibly painful as there's a pause.
No.
Something like that?
It's just that there's a pause when it switches tanks there.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well.
But he thinks he's dying, I think, just from fear of what he's witnessed. At least that's how I'm reading.
Blood exiting.
Okay, so not necessarily pain.
Well, and again, he says it's kind of random every couple of months.
I would be very afraid of that.
Me too.
Yeah, that's, I mean, essentially anytime you have blood in your urine, which I'm not sure we would actually say he has blood in his urine or whether he just has a bloody urethral discharge. I know you guys love it when I bust that one out.
No, you're fine.
Nick just threw up. But yeah, it's never good. So obviously one partner that's all you need to be exposed to any one of many things, including gonorrhea, chlamydia. So
he got back to me. He said no pain at all.
Okay, but it's you got to be checked for that because in a young person who's having urinary symptoms, that's going to be the most likely.
I just can't believe. I mean, I know how we dudes operate. We do avoid seeing people like you at all costs, Dr. P.
Absolutely.
But if my wiener started to bleed, I'd be at your door within minutes.
Yeah, I think I would too.
Yeah, no, I mean, and you need to be seen.
Yeah.
I mean, intermittent symptoms like that, or not full on like I'm in terrible distress, would maybe be chlamydia, just because it's a little more subtle. But you don't usually have bleeding with that. Gonorrhea is usually much more intense. But he could have an infection in the prostate related to a sexually transmitted disease, or it could be something a different kind of bug. But yes, absolutely.
Wait a minute. Bug, like another insect, like we were talking earlier?
No, yeah, sorry. One of those parasites? No. A different bacteria.
Bacteria.
But you worry about, could there be something, a growth in the bladder that's causing bleeding?
Ooh, no.
Could there be something going on in the kidney? I mean, truly, there's a standard workup for actual, especially blood. You know, it's one thing to have microscopic blood detected on a urine exam. It's another thing to see blood. I mean, that's gross hematuria, we call it.
That is gross.
You want to try another penis question,
Sure,
Josh?
yeah.
Well, there's another one. I'd love to.
I could move on to something
This
almost
might be-
as appetizing.
This one might be for more off air.
Okay.
It's a little much.
How about something almost as appetizing as a bleeding penis? Good morning, Dr. P, says this listener. I've had toenail fungus for 8 years now. I've tried everything. What else can I do? It's just 3 toes on my right foot. I know a thing or two about toenail fungus. I'll tell you that right now.
I mean, the options are do nothing.
Amputation, is that?
I mean, that's always an option. Yes, I know on this show we like to jump right to that one, but generally in practice we don't. So you can do nothing. It will generally spread to other toes over time.
Yeah.
It doesn't if you're an otherwise healthy person, if you don't have diabetes and have other concerns about foot infections or injuries,
right,
it's not really a big deal, but it's annoying to people.
It looks ugly.
It's unsightly.
Doesn't taste very good.
Doesn't taste very good.
No.
You know, and it can be hard to trim those things.
I've been battling with that, by damn, for years and years. And
yeah, there's oral medications that can be moderately effective. I would say you have to take them. You have to take them for an extended period of time. Some of them you take every day for possibly a few months. Some you take once a week for a few months or even longer.
For a lot of us, it's just a lifetime deal.
Yeah, and I haven't seen fantastic results with the oral medications. It may suppress it. It may make it go away for a while, but it doesn't totally eliminate it. There are topical prescription things that go on there. Again,
I've tried a little gimmick, Dr. P, where you kind of paint your fungusy nails. It looks like I'm sitting there painting my nails. I usually like to do it while I'm watching my soaps. But yeah, it's like your little brush. You paint some kind of stuff on there. I don't know. I think it's done a decent job.
Is it a prescription?
No. I bought it at a store, Summers.
So yeah, I mean, tea tree oil people talk about, or all
urinating on your feet.
Maybe.
Yeah.
All sorts of things that. But
sorry about that, dude. With the 8 years of toenail fungus, I got that doubled.
Yeah, and the most definitive thing is you can have the nail pulled off.
Oh yeah, you've told us that before.
Yeah, but it can be by a family
like when
doc.
someone's trying to extract information about your drug organization.
Right. So if you happen to be in the CIA and you have toenail fungus, it might work out.
A bottle of JD and a pliers. Go ahead, Cubby.
Dinkytown Jesus has a question about energy drinks. Wants you to talk energy drinks. At his job, he has about 1 a day, but he said there's guys he works with that can drink up to 4 a day.
Oh.
How bad for you are they? Or excuse me, how bad really are they for you? Could you elaborate on that? And are there any way to cancel any negatives you have from consuming them?
Okay. Boy, that's a good question.
What are you doing? Finishing a Red Bull over there?
Yeah, sorry.
He's shotgunning another one.
Mm-hmm. The hard part is there's such a variety of them, obviously, and so I think I'm not sure you can talk about them in general. It's sort of like talking about soda, pop. It's not great for you. The more of it you have, the less great it is for you.
Sure.
But there's going to be variation between what's in it. It's obviously all got to have some kind of caffeine or caffeine equivalent. It's got a lot of acid in it. So it's bad for your teeth. It's bad for your stomach.
Probably wipe out your toenail fungus.
If you soak it in
it. It might if you soaked in it.
Probably would.
And I think the more caffeine and sort of stimulants like that you have, the more dependent you are on them. Dentists are probably the people that will complain about these sorts of beverages the most because the combination of anything like that plus any kind of sugar just erodes enamel like mad.
They end up looking like tombstones.
Yeah, right. And so I don't know how you could. I can't think of any way you can counteract the effects of an energy drink, and I'm not sure why you would want to do that. Just because you're spending a lot of money on energy drinks and some other antidotes, but there is nothing really. 1 a day is probably not a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
People drink plenty of coffee, plenty of soda, and do fine over a long period of time, or long periods of time.
Moderation, Dr. P.
Yeah, moderation is key. 4 is probably pushing it.
What if 2 of them are anally?
Oh, no.
Well, you don't have to worry about your teeth. But there's such a huge... I think, Red Bull and Monster and the ones that have been around, but there's things that have much higher levels of caffeine and who knows what else.
I don't know how some folks do it.
Yeah.
With the coffee, with the energy drinks,
and now there's
with the pop.
Now there's THC infused stuff, right? So it's...
I think I just shoot right through the roof.
Yeah, it's a broad question, and yeah, moderation is probably the main bit of advice.
I think you've handled it just fine. Yes.
I love that Dr. P Dog just advocated or showed the benefits of butt chugging energy drinks.
Dentists everywhere recommend it.
Yep. You gotta be able to look at things in all different ways, Dana.
You sure do.
All different ways. Well, there you go, Dr. P. Damn, we love having you in. You know that. We're very excited about the dynamic duo in the pickleball world that you and Cubby have created.
We had some fun.
We really did.
And, next time you curb stomp some fools, tell them that Nick sent you. I don't know what I'm talking about.
I'm going to write that down.
We love having you, man, and we'll talk to you hopefully in a couple weeks.
Sounds good. Great to be here.
Yeah, take care, brother. Shout out to all the window cleaners out at Squeegee Squad from High Rise Gamer Jesus. Congratulations to Willie Jesus. He and his wife, they just welcomed their first baby girl to the sisterhood. That's from Show Your Boobs, Win a Balloon Jesus.
Oh!
And happy belated birthday shout out to our pal Wolfpack Softball Jesus. Turned 42 yesterday, looks much older. That's from Neck Like a Stack of Dimes, Arms Like Buggy Whips Jesus.
The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show. 93.
The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show podcast is sponsored by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. New episodes drop each weekday. If your podcast platform has ratings, go ahead and give us 5 stars and maybe give our enemies 1. Thanks, and here's a word from our sponsor.
Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is currently hiring experienced and entry-level HVAC technicians. Apply today at standardheating.com.